ओके, गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन। तो यहाँ बैठो, यहाँ पे। आप यहाँ बैठो, यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा हल्का है। हल्का है सर। गुड मॉर्निंग, गुड मॉर्निंग। होप एवरीवन इज गुड। यस और नो?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir.
ओके, ग्रेट। सो
Morning, sir.
good morning. Last class, first class we had some introduction, right? Introduction session, and second class we started with basic networking and security concept. Yes or no? Just have a, I mean, we'll have a 5-minute recap what we have discussed so far, right? We started with internet. You have to connect to the facebook.com, right? Then we understand what are the prerequisites for that. First of all, you have to take the internet connection. You understand what is internet, right? The communication from one network to another network is called as internet. That means all the network, all the service provider across the world are connected to each other. That is called as internet. Means internet is not the property of anyone. Internet is the property of everyone. That's the reason called as public network. Yes or no? So we understand that we have billions of computers which are connected to the internet. So unique identifier, that means every computer should have the unique address that we call as IP address. Yes or no? So IP addresses are of two types, dynamic as well as static. Dynamic means the IP address which can be utilized till the time you are connected to the network, internet. IP will be remain with you. Once you disconnect, it will go to the DHCP. We understand about DHCP, dynamic host configuration protocol. Yes or no? Through that, IP can be dynamically assigned to any computer. And once you disconnect, it can go back to the DSC pool and it can be reassigned to other computer once it is connected. So we understand, right? Instead of because IP addresses are not free. So we taken the example of Airtel that they are having 5 lakhs of computer and every subscriber they have to give the internet connection. Then we understand Airtel has done some kind of trend analysis and came to know not all the computers are connecting to the internet at the same time. Yes or no? So they introduce the concept of DHCP. So we can use the DHCP and we can reutilize the IP addresses, right? So once you taken the connection, you got the IP addresses. That means you are connected to the internet. Once you open the browser, you will mention facebook.com. We understand that internet address means IP address, but here we are entering a domain name that is facebook.com because numbers are difficult to remember. Yes or no? But a browser understands only IP address to tell to the browser. So once you enter facebook.com, any website, right? Browser should know the IP address of a particular website. So how the browser will come to know? Through DNS, domain name server. In domain number server, you have the mapping of IP address and domain name to IP address, right? That we call a DNS records. There are many type of DNS record. E record, SOA record, CNAME record, MX record, SPF record, many record. I hope you have completed your homework. What is DNS and what are the various DNS records? I've given the homework, right? So the DNS browser will come to know what is the IP address of facebook.com and then it will go redirect the request to the facebook.com and you'll get the Facebook page. And then later on, we take an example of SIEM XPERT that we have 5 lakhs of employee and every employee we have to give the internet access as well as every computer should be able to communicate with each other internally. Then again, 5 lakhs of computer means 5 lakhs of IP address. IP addresses are not free. Then INA came back to us and said that these are the range of internal IP that you can use inside to a company that also requires private IP. But private IP will not be identified over the internet. That means internal communication inside your company, inside your local network, you can do using private IP address. But having private IP address, if you go to the internet, private IP will not be identified because not only you are using, you understand, IP address should be unique address, right? But when you are using same IP address, some other company also using same IP address, private IP address, there will be a conflict on the internet. That's the reason having private IP address, your computer cannot access the internet. Only local communication happen, right? Then we understand there are two types of IP address again, private IP address and public IP address. Public IP addresses are the IP address which are being used over the internet. That means if you have to access the internet, you should have the public IP address. First of all, static dynamic, then private and public. You know the range of IP address, private IP address. What is the range? A private IP address, 3 ranges, right? What are those 3 ranges?
0.0.0.0.
हाँ देखो बोला था यार।
10.0.0./8
हाँ
170.168.0.0/12
हाँ
192.168.0.0/16.
right. /16 means it's a complete range. Slash means it complete is not a single IP address, it's complete range subnet, right? That's the we if there is no slash means it's a single IP address. If there is slash means it's a range of IP address. That means there are permutation and combination. If you subdivide, right, then many IP address will be created, right? It's a full range of IP addresses. So through DHCP concept, we reduce because not all the users will be accessing the internet at the same time, but out of 5 lakhs user, 2 lakhs user must be using. That means we need 2 lakhs of IP address to set up SIEM XPERT company. Again, buying the IP address is very difficult. It's very costly. Then we came to know about the concept of, did we buy 2 lakhs? NATing, right? NAT. Network address translation. NAT, right? So NAT, network address translation, translating one network address means IP address to another IP address, public to public, private to private, private to public, public to private, right? Mapping of any IP to another one IP to another IP we call as NATing, right? So we understand that on the router, we applied the NATing. So every internal computer, we assign the internal IP, and private router, we have configured public IP. So when you access the internet, your request will go to the router, and router has the netting. So you can go to the internet using the public IP. So even a single IP configured on the router for netting, all your lakhs of computer can access the internet using the single IP address. That is called as NATing or NAT, network address translation. Yes or no? Then we talk about how computer will connect together. There are 2 types of devices. Yes or no? What are those network devices?
Switch
Switch
and router.
Switch and router.
Switch and router. So switches within the network. 4 devices which are the part of same network, right? We have to deploy the switch to enable the communication. Yes or no? And if there are 2 or more devices which are the part of different network, then we have to deploy the router to enable communication. Means a router routes between the network, while switches within the subnet or within the network. You understand? So there are 2 devices in all organization to connect all computer. There are 2 devices, router and switches. Switch devices, these devices. Previously, we used to use hub and bridges, right? But those are not intelligent devices. Switch and routers are the intelligent devices. So hub and bridges are depreciated. Now we are using switch and router. Using switch and router, we design a network. Yes or no? Then we talk about how communication happen in the digital communication. How the communication happen between 2 devices. We understand in digital communication happen in the form of packets.
Packets.
From one device to another device, communication happen in the form of packet, and packets are having how many parts?
2 parts. 2 parts.
What are those?
Header and data.
Header and
trailer.
Data.
Header and data.
Data.
What header contains?
IP address.
Destination IP and source IP.
Destination IP address.
Right.
Source and destination IP.
Means header contains the control information. That means source information as well as destination information. That means source IP, destination IP, source port, destination port, and so on. Right? From where the packet has come, where the packet has to go, it's being controlled. Is being contained by the header. Yes or no? And what about data?
Yes.
Actual data which is being forwarded, which is being requested, are contained by the data part of the packet, right? So you understand how the communication happens in the form of packet, and who carries this packet from source to destination? Who brings this packet from source to destination?
TCP and
Transport.
UDP.
Transport protocol, and TCP and UDPs are the transport protocol. I hope you have gone through the video. What is TCP and UDP?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
और बोला था क्या? Guaranteed delivery of product. Not secure. You got rejected in an interview. I said that's the most important interview question, right? Most frequently asked interview question. I hope everybody has gone through that video, TCP and UDP, and what is the difference between TCP UDP, and what is three-way handshake. What is three-way handshake in TCP? What is
synchronization acknowledgement.
Before it communicates the data, then it will make a connection between the server and the client first. Once the the connection established, the data is transferred through three-way handshake.
That's correct. What about other people? I said most frequently asked question, and you did not prepare. You had 1 week of time, right? Still you did not prepare. Once you get rejected in interview, then you will prepare. That is the reason people get a job in first attempt also, and some people get the job in 5-6 months also, and some people you may not even get because who are not serious. If you are not studying right now, you will have to study after failure. If you want to get selected early as soon as possible, then you have to prepare along with me. Otherwise, it will be a burden once you complete the course. I'm telling you. Out of 100 people, only a couple of people are able to answer. So three-way handshake process is a process of stabilizing connection before the actual data transfer happen in TCP to ensure that whatever client is sending, server is able to receive, and whatever server is sending, client is able to receive, to ensure the end-to-end connectivity, right? In TCP, it establishes the connection between source and destination, client and server, right? That is called a three-way handshake because 3 packets, SYN, SYNAC, and ACK, right? The confirmation to each other, that is called as three-way handshake. TCP three-way handshake, very important question, right? So you understand that in the digital communication happen in the form of packets, right? And who brings the packet? Transfer protocol, and TCP and UDP are the transfer protocol. Any of the transfer protocol we can use, and which cases what protocol we are doing, that also I have discussed on the video. In case of video communication, live video, we'll prefer UDP. Like I'm having the live session with you, it's a TCP protocol, UDP. This live session is happening on UDP protocol. Why? Because in TCP, the speed is slow, right? I'm turning the head here, my head will stuck here in case speed is slow. That is not the correct better experience, right? If I'm turning the head like this, in between packet drop happen, still my head will be like this ahead. It will not wait, right? So even packet drop happens, right? Next packet will be sent. Get it? That is UDP. In TCP, once packet lost, then it will wait to receive the packet, then it will turn like this, and that will be buffering. Yes or no? So in that case, you will not have better experience. Live streaming, WhatsApp call, right? You can see this was your internet call, all are happening using the radio protocol. When you make the WhatsApp call, sometimes voice breaks, but did you hear the same voice again? No, right? Because it's already broke, it's already dropped, packet is already dropped. You hear next word, right? Otherwise, when you use TCP, then you're telling, hello, Sulabh. Then after a few seconds, yes, I'm speaking. Then when he's speaking, you already spoken something. You already said something, right? You will not have better experience. That's the reason. In this case, we use UDP protocol. While text communication, it uses TCP because text should not be missed. If any letter missed, meaning full spelling of the sentence may get changed. If any word missed, right? That's the reason text communication happening using the TCP protocol. Get it? Then we understand the OSI model. We understand that how the communication happens from source to destination is being defined using a model called that OSI model. Yes or no? Open system interconnection. It's a reference model which defines how the communication happens from source to destination using the how many layers? Layers?
7 layers.
7
No.
layers.
So your switch is which layer device? Switch work on which layer?
Data link layer 2. Layer 2.
Layer 2.
3. 2.
Data link layer.
Layer 2.
Number 2.
Data link.
Right? Your
Data.
router.
Layer 3.
Network
Layer
layer.
3.
Layer 3.
Layer 3, network layer.
Firewall.
Layer 3 and layer 4.
Layer 3.
And 4.
Layer 3 and 4.
Layer 4.
And 4.
4.
Digital router.
Layer 2.
Layer 4.
2 and 3.
2 and 3.
Layer 3.
Digital router. See, standard router work on the
Layer 4.
Digital router layer
layer 3 and 4. Digital
Okay.
routers works on
3 and
layer
4.
3 and 4. You have written right last time. And digital switches,
Yes.
standard switch work on the layer 2, while digital
and
switch
3.
work
2
on
and
the
3.
layer 2 and 3. That is the reason your home Jio router or Airtel router, only one device, which works as a router also, which take the interconnect and terminate on the router, right? And it works as switch also. Intercommunication all connect using the same box because it is layer 3 switch. It is a layer 3 switch, which works as switch also and router also. Both device work happening on the same device. Because you understand the MAC address also and IP address also. Means it does do routing also and switching also. Get I mean? Previously we had two boxes. One we used to take the interconnection. One is router, one is switch. Now we have one device because it's a layer 3 switch. Get I mean? Switch and router. Understand? So we understand what are the, so firewall works on which layer? Firewall layer 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
It understand IP address also and protocol ports and protocol which comes on the ports and protocol comes on the layer 4, while IP address comes on the layer 3. Your application browser work on layer number 5, 6, 7. Encryption also happens, right? Once you do HTTPS, enable HTTPS through browser itself, encryption happens. Encryption session also getting established, as well as visuality in the application also happens. The browser works on 5, 6, 7. Get in mind that application layer.
Yes, sir.
6, 7 generally we consider application layer comes by the application layer of devices, right? So this is a frequently asked question in interview. What is the device work on the layer number 1? Switch is which layer device? Router work on which layer? Firewall work on which layer? Standard firewall, network security firewall work on which layer, right? So these are the interview questions. Get I mean? Any device which work on the layer 2, MAC means we'll understand the MAC address. We'll only have the visuality of MAC address. Any device work on the layer 3 means it can understand the IP address. Any device work on the layer 4 means it can understand port and protocol. Any device work on the layer number 3 and 4 can understand IP address, port and protocol. Get I mean? It depends it depends on type of devices, which layer it works, and what capability it has. Understand what I'm saying, right? So that is how so once packet travel, right? Once packet travels to the router, hit to the router. For example, this device you want to convert, right? From this device, this particular device, you want to communicate, right? This particular system want to communicate to this particular device, and it will send the data in the form of packet, right? Once the packet hit to the router, the packet has the header, right? Header, and it has the data part. So once the packet hit to the router, right? Router route the information. That means whatever packet come to the one port of router, it will route to the other port. Router is the device which shows the path, which tell you the path. Router, it will route the packet. You know what I mean? Hindi mein path pradarshak. Router means path pradarshak in Hindi. If you tell path pradarshak means the things which will show you the path, right? That we call as router. Router work is whatever device, whatever packet come to the router, it will check which device you want to communicate, and that particular device connected to which port of the router, and it will route the traffic based on port number, right? So now it will route based on the IP address. Yes or no? So once the packet hit to the router will open up the header or data. Which part of the packet will open? Header or data?
Header.
Not be open because data is layer 7 information, 5, 6, 7.
Yes.
Router does not have visibility. Router is a layer 3 device, right? So once the header open, header is having what information? Source IP, destination IP, source port,
Source port and destination port.
Protocol, right? So out of this header information, what information router will be able to read?
IP address.
Destination IP.
Header.
IP address, not full
IP
header,
address.
not full header.
Yeah, IP address.
Only
IP address.
source IP and IP address means source
Destination
IP.
IP.
Means
Destination
from where
IP.
the packet has come and where the packet has
We are
to
supposed to route.
right, but because router is layer 3 device, and layer 3 devices can understand only
IP addresses.
IP address.
No,
Logical address.
even the header contains full protocol, but router will not be able to read standard router if you talk about, not digital router, right? It will only able to read the source IP and destination IP. Based on that, only it will route the packet. Understand? Get your mind? That is only work router can do. That is only information a router can read here. Now, using switch and router, right? Using switch and router, we have designed our network, right? That means we have designed our office having gate. This router is on gate. This is we call a gateway router. This router is on gate. So this router called as gateway router, right? So inside also you have different you have router and such many router, but this router is on gate because your internal connection is being terminated on the gateway router. Get a mind? That's the reason this router called a gateway router. So you can see we have designed a network and this router is called a gateway router, which is in gate. That means we have designed our company, for example, physical company, if you talk about, you have designed your company and you have implemented, set up the gate also, but there is no security guard. Yes or no? Now we have fulfilled the requirement of our users. These users can communicate with each other and can go to the internet. If these users can go to the internet using this network, outside user can also come inside. Yes or no? Because they are connected to the public network, and public network, there are bad people also and good people also, right? There will be bad people who can come inside, can steal any information, can damage the devices. Yes or no? Can manipulate the data, modify the data, delete the data, steal the data, anything they can do. Similarly, same as you have office with no security guard, anyone can come inside. Yes or no? So in the physical company, when you have gate, right, to secure so that only authorized people can come inside, what do you do?
Checking.
Firewall.
In physical
Firewall.
office,
Place
not
the
network,
firewall.
not network. Talking about in
Gate.
physical office,
Security.
Security guard.
ID card check.
Security guard.
ID card.
security guard. Yes or no? Behind in the router means in the gate, you hire security guard, right? Will be standing security guard, right? And whenever anybody come inside, if you have security guard behind this, security guard will ask, because security guard work is to filter out, means only authorized people can go inside. Yes or no? After verifying the authenticity of the people, then only it will he will allow, otherwise he will deny. Yes or no? So whenever anybody will come inside to the company, security guard will ask, from where you have come? Oh, from 𝐴𝐴. Where you have to go? Of course, which department? Where you have to go? Which department? In the company you have to go? Which department you have to go, right? And to whom you want to meet? From where you have to come, where you have to go, and to whom you want to meet. Get in mind? To whom you want to meet. Then it will check whether the person has to be allowed or disallowed. So what parameter the security guard will verify whether the person has to be allowed or disallowed? For example, this person is coming for the interview. His name is Mradul, right? He came for the interview. So HR must have sent him the call letter, right? So once he will meet to security guard will ask from where you have come, where you have to go, to whom you want to meet, and do you have the call letter? If he has the call letter, he'll verify with the information that he is having, the call letter is correct, right? And then he will allow. And he will only allow so that this person can meet to HR department. Maybe he will send some of his colleague, security guard, to let him and to reach to the HR, not to other department. Yes or no? That is the right way. Otherwise, the person will come inside and can go to any department. Yes or no? Get a mind? So that is the work of security guard. Security guard verify the information based on the backend information, backend database it is having. Maybe he's using some registered, so maybe HR informing, okay, this person is coming. We already have sent the call letter, allow him. Or nowadays, the security guard are also digital. And the HR will send an email to security guard. Okay, these many guys are coming from this location. And they come in, allow them. Their entry is allowed. Then when you tell, okay, you come, he will check on the computer. Nowadays, security guard is also having computers, right? He'll check on backend information. Okay, this person is allowed list. Okay, let's him allow. Other people who is not a part of the database of the security guard backend information, right? Those people will be disallowed to go inside. Get I mean? So security guard check from where you have come, where you have to go, to whom you want to meet, and whether you are approved or not, whether your entry is allowed or not on its backend database. Get I mean? Yes or no? Similarly, same work is being done by the which device in the network?
Router.
Firewall.
Firewall.
Firewall. Same work is done by the firewall in digital network. So behind the router is in gateway, right? So gate is your router in digital network. The gate of your company is gate of your network is router. Yes or no? Router is a gate. While behind the gate, you will have
Firewall.
firewall. That's correct. Behind the gate, we'll have the
Firewall.
behind the gate, we will have the firewall. Firewall work almost same as security guard in physical network. Firewall in digital network work almost same as security guard in digital network. Let's security guard. Okay, let's understand what will happen. So as you know already, we discussed, once the packet hit to the router, for example, source IP is 199.0.5.100. Your destination IP is 106.0.2.50. This is the destination IP address. Audio and video is clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as soon as packet hit to the router, for example, this computer wants to communicate with this computer, right? Inside your company, it will communicate in the form of packet. So once the packet hit to the router, this is the header, right? And this is the data. Router will open up the header part, not data. Router cannot open the data. It will open the header part and read the IP address, source IP and destination IP address, and based on that, it will route the packet. Yes or no? Now, once router work is not for filtering. It does not check whether packet is whether communication is authorized or not, right? Router work is just to route. It is not checking whether packet is authorized, communication is authorized or not, right? That work is of firewall. So once the router routes the communicate packet, the packet will reach to the firewall. Packet will reach to the firewall, right? And firewall is which layer device? Layer number 3 and 4. Once the packet hits the firewall will open up which part? Header or data?
Header.
Header.
Header. Yes or no? Firewall will open up the header, and what access it will read, what all things it will read on the header? What
IP address and
IP address and port
as well
address.
as port number.
Right, IP address, ports and
IP address,
Just port number.
source address, and destination address.
because your standard enterprise security firewall is layer 3, layer 4. That is source IP, destination IP. from where the packet has come, where the packet has to go, right? And which port, what is the port, what is source port, and what is the destination port.
port.
Get in mind, what is the destination port, on which port? On which port means who is the person, which department, IT departments you have in a company, you have multiple department, right? Similarly, in particular computer, which port it is going to access, right? You know what happens? So which the particular source IP is this one and destination IP is this one. Means this computer communication started from this computer, this IP, and want to go to this computer on this particular IP address. And in this computer, which port, and from which port the communication came from this computer, but is source port and destination port. And communication is being used on which protocol, TCP or UDP. That also information will be checked by the firewall. Get in mind? So now, as we mentioned, that it will open the header and check what is source IP, destination IP, source port, destination port, and protocol. Now, firewall will decide whether connection has to be allowed or disallowed, whether this particular communication is authorized or not. If it is authorized, then allow. If it is not authorized, then it will disallow. That means deny. We call it deny drop in the firewall, right? So on what basis? In what basis? Right. What basis firewall will check whether connection has to be allowed or disallowed?
Access control list.
Your voice is not clear.
ACL.
Your voice is, somebody was telling you
Access control list, ACL.
correct. Correct. So I hope some people have the knowledge also, and some people has already watched the videos on YouTube for last 7 days, right? I also sent the video in the group playlist.
Yes, sir.
Where I'm going to teach you here. Same thing has been uploaded in YouTube also, initial 7 classes on the YouTube playlist, right? So if you want to revise this session which are happening right now, you can still watch on YouTube, right? First 7 days means around 14 hours class are available on YouTube. You want to revise, same thing, but I thought to continue the class, that's the reason I'm covering the live class as well. Okay, so now once packet, it's good to know that some people has already gone through it. So once, and some people have the knowledge because they're already working in networking security background, so they are having already knowledge. But this knowledge, we already have it. Some people have computer science background, so this kind of header, data, and all payload, they already gone through the kind of, some of the people computer science background, they gone through the subject called data communication, right? But even you have not gone through the video, you have not gone through any books, but you're understanding right now, right? So no need to worry about that. Everybody now based on what is a technical, nobody is non-technical anymore, right? Everybody is the part of cyber security. Everybody is the part of IT now. Do not say anymore that I'm non-technical. You forget about that. You have done BA, BBM, or something like that. Everybody is technical, and everybody is part of IT and cyber security. So now header and data, right? So once the firewall will hit, packet will hit to the firewall, we'll check on source information, destination information. That means source IP, destination, source port, destination port, and protocol. Now firewall has to decide whether the packet has to be allowed or disallowed. That means has to be allowed, permitted, or deny, right? On what basis? You rightly mention, as per the ACL, the firewall will have the list, we call as one list, we call as ACL. The security guard has the database, right? Security guard has a database like email or something. Based on that, it will check, okay, this has to be allowed, this has to be, this person has to be disallowed, right? Similarly, firewall also has some reference. Based on that, firewall can check, okay, this connection from this particular source coming to particular destination should be allowed. Okay, this is on denial, like should be denied, right? Get one. The firewall has the ACL for that, called as ACL, access control list. The name itself suggests, right? Access control list. That means ACL, as per the ACL, it will control the access, who has to be allowed and who has to be denied based on the ACL. Based on the ACL, it will, based on the ACL, it will allow or disallow. Access control list, that means it has the mapping of IP address and port number. It has the list of IP address, means from where the connection is coming. If the IP address is suspicious or involved in any kind of malicious activities, right, then it will check, then it will have the list of IP addresses which are involved in any kind of malicious activity, or port number which might have been used in any kind of malicious activities. Those will be there, or combination of both will be there on the ACL. As soon as any connection comes in, it will open the header, right, and check whether source IP address is there on the ACL or not. If it is there, that means maybe the IP address may have been used for any kind of suspicious activity. In that case, firewall will deny the traffic. If it is not there on the ACL, that means in that case, firewall will allow the traffic. Yes or no? So in what I understand, right, means whenever any connection comes in and hit to the firewall, firewall is the layer 3, layer 4 device. That means it does not have access to the data packet, because data comes from the 5, 6, 7 layer number, right? So the firewall works on layer number 3 and 4, means IP address and port number protocol, it can check. It will check information. Mute mic, who is not on mute? Chaitra. Chaitra. Your rice voice kya hai is mein? Not muting mic. Lavanya. Please keep an eye on your mic, please. So as soon as packet hit to the firewall, it will open the layer 3, layer 4 source IP, destination IP, source port, destination port, and it will check whether source IP is there on the ACL or not. But if the ACL, that means IP address may have been involved in kind of security. Then in that case, firewall will deny the traffic. If entry is not there in ACL, in that case, firewall will allow the traffic. Okay, now the question comes, how the firewall gets this ACL? How the firewall get the entry on this ACL? Who tells the firewall? Security guard who tells? The inside people, HR or higher management people who send the pass or who send the emails, right? That means somebody must be there who tells, who update the entry on the ACL. Okay, this sort of IP are blacklisted, update on the ACL. Connection come part of the ACL, disallow the traffic. This IP not blacklisted, remove this. No more blacklisted, remove this. Then allow the traffic, right? So who is going to update this ACL? So what happens is there are multiple vendors. This firewall can be hardware or software, but majority time the gateway firewalls are hardware firewall. We have the hardware here. We also have Fortinet firewall. We have the hardware here for firewall, right? Majority of time this gateway firewall will be a hardware device, but it comes on software also and hardware also. But majority of time we'll see the firewall is hardware device. That is what we call a firewall. Firewall means it's a wall firewall. Unnecessary people, unauthorized will come and they will burn. Means unauthorized connection will be denied. That is the firewall. Securing the network. It is fire, right? That is the name has given like that. Firewall. Get in mind. So what will happen is there are multiple vendors which develop this device. Firewall the technology. There are multiple vendors, mean developer. Different developer which develop this particular device. Anybody knows what are those vendors? Different vendors. You have Fortinet firewall.
Fortinet.
Cisco firewall. Cisco. Fortinet firewall is FortiGate. Fortinet is the vendor. Fortinet is developer vendor. Fortinet have multiple product and their firewall name is FortiGate. Cisco firewall name is ASA, PIX, right? These are the firewall Cisco, right? Like ASA, Adaptive Security Appliance, PIX. Cisco is the vendor. Like Bajaj is a vendor, and there are multiple Bajaj CT100, Bajaj Anti-Jar, Bajaj Pulsar, right? Similarly, Cisco is the vendor and firewall is ASA and PIX. Fortinet is the vendor having firewall FortiGate, right? And such as Palo Alto firewall, Palo Alto firewall.
Checkpoint.
Palo Alto firewall.
Juniper.
Checkpoint. The multiple vendor, Checkpoint firewall, Juniper firewall, Sophos firewall, right? But this is some of the Cisco, some of the famous, like you have Fortinet, Cisco, Palo Alto, Checkpoint, and Juniper. These are some of the very famous, popular firewalls vendor, right? Some of the popular firewall vendor. Got it? So, for example, we can written. For example, this particular firewall we bought it from Fortinet, right? This is a Fortinet firewall, right? So you know what happens? Fortinet, every firewall vendor having their research team, R&D team, research team, which does the research. What are the IP address which are involved in any kind of suspicious or malicious activities, any kind of unauthorized activities? They do the R&Ds, right? And they collect the list of IP addresses. Okay, they will collect the list of IP address or any port number majorly not being used for any kind of legitimate activity, are highly involved in kind of malicious activities. They will also collect that, right? But list of IP addresses and port number they will collect. Mostly it will be a list of IP addresses. They will collect from various sources. They will do the R&D and they will collect the list and they will update it on the regular basis. They will update on the firewall ACL, right? So once, for example, once you buy the Fortinet firewall, right? The Fortinet firewall will connect to the Fortinet cloud. Fortinet cloud means the server of Fortinet where this R&D teams are putting the set of IP addresses, blacklisted IP address. As we say IP address, we call it blacklisted IP address. Set of suspicious malicious IP address, we call it blacklisted IP address, right? So these firewall team of Fortinet, right, does the R&D, right? And they have one common server on which will be updating the IP addresses, malicious IP address, right? And this firewall, once you deploy, right, it will have the access to the cloud. So once you deploy the firewall, you have to give the internet access to the firewall and give the access to the Fortinet cloud so that it can collect, it can pull, or the cloud must be pushing the IP addresses to the firewall ECA. Whoever will buy the firewall, right, Fortinet firewall, right, this cloud will be pushing, the ACL information, the IP address to all the firewalls. Get it? This is called a signature of the firewall update in the form of update, right? So this is a regular update. As soon as they will get such kind of information, they will push to the firewall, right? Regular. This is called as, also called as signature. This ACL we also call as signature. Get it? So apart from that, there are many things. Any update comes, for example, any new version came, or any kind of weaknesses the firewall is having, that also will be passed as part of updates. Yeah. नहीं, ये तो हार्डवेयर चेंज नहीं करना, इसके अंदर सॉफ्टवेयर या वर्जन चेंज होता है, अपडेट होता है, बट यू डोंट नीड टू you need not to change the firewall hardware. Because if it is behind the router, right, it is generally it will be behind the router. In gateway you have the router, and behind the router you have the firewall, right? So once it is connected, you will have to allow the internet access, right? So you have to give the internet access to the firewall so that it can get the updates. Get it? So it will be automatically taking the update and updating the ACL entry. Get it? That is the main work. Any so firewall is having operating system also, right? So that operating system is having any weaknesses, that also will be updated by the cloud, right? Major information is this ACL update. That is the reason. For example, if you buy the firewall, right? If you buy the firewall, for example, you have buy the firewall for 3 years support, 3 years. There is subscription actually. You buy the hardware, when every year or every 2-3 years, you have to renew the support contract. Renew 1 year you want to buy, 2 years, 3 years. Hardware is yours only, but still you have to pay the every year renewal cost. It's up to you. You can renew for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, right? But there are some cost. There are cost. There are cost. Everything, for example, every device you buy, right? Antivirus you buy, you already have client installed, right? But still you have to renew every year. What purpose? If I have the box right now, I already bought the firewall. Why I have to renew it? If I do not renew it, what will happen?
New signatures will not be
New
updated.
signatures will not come and anyone else can attack.
What?
New signatures will not be updated.
That means the
And
update
our system will
that
be
cloud is
compromised.
doing to the ACL, that update they will stop it, right? You'll have the older entries, new entry will not be updated because R&D team will do the research. May possible that some set of IP which are blacklisted right now, right? Not blacklisted tomorrow, right? So some legitimate traffic is coming in, it will firewall block it because firewall does not know now that those IP addresses are no more blacklisted. And some of the IP address which were not blacklisted yesterday are blacklisted now. So those entry will not be updated. Yes or no? That means your network is not secure even you have the firewall, because latest information, latest signature means IP address, blacklisted IP address you are not having. So if you do not renew the contract this signature update will get stopped. Any patching, any vulnerabilities means weaknesses is present on the firewall, their operating system will not be updated by the cloud vendor. And second thing, support contract. If you already buy support renew, then if any problem happen, you can call to the FortiGate support or vendor support, whatever firewall or whatever device you have bought, right? But in case this contract expired, you cannot call to their support also, right? That is the reason you have to renew it. 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, for what purpose, what year you have to renew, it, otherwise signature will not get updated and resulting your firewall will have the old information.
Firewall also will be having patching cycle.
Of course, all patching means any security weaknesses, any weaknesses that having. Attackers are very intelligent, right? Attackers, cyber criminals are not like physical thieves that you have, right? Those are well-educated people. Those are well-educated, very intelligent people, right?
You know what is?
Those are not uneducated, right? The physical the theft happen, right? Those are non-educated people, maybe uneducated physical theft when happen, but this cyber criminals are very intelligent people, well-educated people, right? So they always do the R&D and find out if any new weaknesses, that can be compromised, right? So along with cyber criminals, for example, FortiGate firewall, right? FortiGate firewall also have their ethical hackers, penetration tester, right? They always try to attack like an attacker and find out the vulnerabilities, weaknesses. If they find vulnerabilities, weaknesses, right, they will update as a part of signature, as a part of patches update. So before the attacker take the advantage of those weaknesses, let's patch those vulnerabilities. Or sometime attacker may have exploited, attacker may have found and exploited one of the company they reported, and firewall vendor, oh, it's a weaknesses. Then they will reach the patch for all the companies whichever deploy the firewall, so that other company can be safeguarded, right? So patches are also very important. Patches are nothing but security updates. Sometime you will see in the Windows 10, 11, whatever you have, right? There are updates coming time to time, updates. So updates are always not a feature update. You will see rarely you'll have feature update, right? But updates are most of them security updates, security patches. Means their Microsoft team might have found, Windows team, some bugs, some weaknesses. And bugs means some feature might not be working properly. They have to fix it, a new update. And security patches, that means some having the weak points, some weaknesses the particular device is having, and they will fix it. Sometimes you update your mobile, but you see that nothing has been changed. Those patches, there's maybe a security patches. Some weaknesses are having and has been patched as a part of update. Understand? So that is the reason, if you do not buy the contract, do not renew the contract, security pocket patches will not come, as well as this ACL information, that means signature, will not get updated. That is the reason we have, if you buy the firewall, it's very important to renew your contract. Understand? So ACL information, so whatever information, so you can see it here. If you have the ACL, if any connection is coming, check it out whether IP address is listed here or not ACL, but is listed, it will disallow, not listed, it will allow, right? But in some situation, for example, sometime it will happen, the connection coming in, there is no entry on the ACL, and resulting connection has been allowed, but IP address were blacklisted, it's an attacker IP address, right? But maybe possible this FortiGate RN team did not come across that particular IP is blacklisted or malicious activity, right? Once you investigate, some system may be compromised, or you see some unusual traffic, and resulting you came to know the IP address suspicious, it's an attacker IP address, right? Then in that case, to stop this activity, you have to block the IP address. Yes or no? Get your point? Because some point of time it will happen. The attack will happen. If firewall is enough, right? If firewall say FortiGate, this all vendor R&D team is enough, then in that case, cyber attack may not happen, right? But there are chances, even though you have the firewall, there are chances that attacker may attack it, and firewall does not have the entry on the ACL, and resulting connection will get successfully will penetrate the network. Attacker will successfully penetrate the network, right? So here in this case, you have two types of active list: static and dynamic. There are one list is dynamic and other part is static. This list, for example, there is a dynamic list, and this one, and this one is static. Dynamic means which is updated by the vendor cloud. Why we call it dynamic means some entry might be added and some entry might be removed. The IP address which are blacklisted right now can be added and no more blacklisted can be removed. Because the IP which were blacklisted, now maybe it is on good hand because you have taken the connection, you are using that IP. After you used for malicious perspective, somebody else is now using for good perspective, right? In that case, the IP address has to be removed. Static list is defined by you. You can allow or disallow any IP address and or combination of IP address and port number on the static rule. Can you understand? So you can create a static rule which all IP address or which all port number has to be allowed on your firewall, right? For example, some compromise happened. You came to know this IP address was suspicious and compromise happened. Now to stop it, or next time this particular IP address should not be allowed, you have to block this IP address. Then on the static list, you can block it manually yourself. Or may be possible that some of your vendor is accessing some of the resources that you have allowed to access, you have given access, but when they're accessing, your firewall is blocking the connection because that IP address is included on the dynamic ACL as per the vendor saying that a blacklisted and allowed. It is blocked, and your vendor is saying I'm not able to access your resources. Yes or no? Vendor is saying he is not able to access your resources. In that case, you have raised the request to your networking firewall team that particular vendor having this particular IP is not able to access the resources, and firewall team came to know the firewall is blocking the connection. In that case, the IP address has to be allowed. Yes or no? In that case, the IP address has to be allowed. So what will happen in that case? You have to create the static rule here, static policy here. Last time I have explained your port number, right? What port number, what purpose are you using? I have already given an idea, right? Last class. Yes or no? Port number 80,443, DNS, all those information given, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand? Do you understand what perspective, what port we are using? What perspective, right? For example, this particular vendor want to access this particular system with port number 443. But in particular system, you have some other services also different port number, but you want to give him to access this particular system, this particular application of port number 443, particular application. Then you can create a policy here that also called a static rule, static policy. You can create from this particular system, for example, source IP 199.0.5.100. This particular source IP address should be allowed for 106.0.2.56 on port number 443. This kind of static rule you can create. You have option to allow particular IP to all destination, means all destination IP on all ports, or you have option to particular IP to particular destination to all ports, or particular source IP to particular destination on particular port. Right? This called a static policy, a static rule. What has to be allowed and what has to be disallowed, you can manually write the policy, write the rule. This rule called a static rule. Based on the ACL, whatever allowed, disallowed, ACL will dynamically, but whatever statically you want to allow or disallow, you will create such static policies. Get it? Understand? So static rule has the first precedence. Means if you allow something on this list, even that particular IP is a part of dynamic ACL have blacklisted, still the traffic will be allowed. Kevin, if you block something, even though it is not a part of dynamic ACL as a part of blacklisted, still it will be blocked because first precedent is static list, that static rule that you have created. Understand how firewall will decide whether particular connection has to be allow or disallow based on the ACL. ACL are two types, dynamic and static. Dynamic ACL will be updated as per the cloud, as per the vendor. Vendor RNA team will push the updates. Get I mean? While static ACL are having the static policy, static rules that firewall team can create. What has to be allowed, what has to be disallowed based on a combination of IP, source IP, destination port, as well as protocol. Get I mean? That can be written manually, allowed manually, allowed, disallowed manually. Understand? Clear this point? So that is how firewall secure network filter. That is the firewall is all called network filtering device. It's a filtering device, right? Filter the authorized, unauthorized traffic. Unauthorized traffic it will disallow, and authorized traffic it will be allowed. That's the reason it's called a firewall. Is the filtering. Firewall is the interface between one network to another network. Generally, if it is there on the behind the router, that means it's the interface between the internet as well as your internal network, right? Which filter the unauthorized traffic. Get it?
Small doubt.
Just give me a minute.
Sir.
Just give me a minute. No, I'm just coming.
Sir, I have a doubt.
डायरेक्ट मोबाइल से कहते हैं घर में तो राउटर लगता है तो उसमें फायरवॉल लगा रहता है नहीं फायरवॉल नहीं रहता उसमें लेयर 3 लोअर टू लेयर 3 हाँ फायरवॉल हमारे यहाँ लगाया अलग से फायरवॉल लगाया हमने राउटर के पीछे बिहाइंड द राउटर हाँ फॉर सिक्योरिटी इन कंपनी यस गो अहेड
Sir, external IP address is communicating to my internal IP address.
Right.
Even I block the external IP address, but again after some time it initiate the connection. So what I have to do in this condition? And some bytes operation also taking place.
If you block it, it will be blocked. It will not happen.
Okay.
It will happen. If you block the IP address, you will not be able to communicate.
Yes, but again connection taken place after some time.
It not will happen.
Amount of time.
It will happen. No, it will not happen. If you block it, it will permanently block. See, manual rules that you are creating, manual policy you create is permanent till the time you are not removing it. Right? It's a permanent. It is not temporary. This may be temporary. The
Hello, sir.
Okay. Yes.
Sir, is there any limitation of firewall?
For what? For what limitation?
Sir, after which point it doesn't work?
No, it doesn't. No such limitation. See, means everybody has a capacity, right? How much you eat, that much only you work. Similarly, firewall has a throughput. How many connections it can handle, right? Based on the see your food, you work based on your food, right? And these digital devices, food are RAM, CPU, storage. Yes or no? If anything has reached its threshold, firewall may stop working, or any digital device may stop working, get hang or something, right? So their threshold, their throughput defined by these three things, majorly RAM and CPU. You want to increase the threshold. Throughput means how many inbound and outbound connections, right? That is called throughput, input and output. Throughput, how many connections firewall can process, right? In bigger organization, we should buy high throughput firewall. That means higher RAM, higher CPU, so it can process the request, right? These are having very huge throughput firewall, ISPs, because whatever connection you're doing, right, whatever Intel access firewall ISP has given to anyone, all connections are going through IC firewall. It is not blocking anything for you, but they have firewall and they're allowing, they are regulating the traffic. If you want something to block for you, you can ask ISP to block it for you. Ideally, ISP is not blocking anything for you. In case government asks to block certain applications, certain traffic, right, then only ISP will block the traffic for everyone. Then, for example, in this one should not jao. Kaun sa application tha ek? Bahut famous application. Tinder nahi yaar. TikTok, right? TikTok and many 100+ Chinese applications, right? They has to be disallowed. What they have done is they check it out on which IP address they are connecting, and they block the IP address on their firewall. Every ISPs have blocked their IP address on their firewall. Get it, mind? So that is the reason you are not able to access. So, because they have. So until 1 minute. One minute. Just hold on a minute. Until unless you are not asking ISP to block anything for you, or government is not asking, ISP generally, even a malware traffic, malicious traffic, all will be allowed for everyone by the IC firewall, right? They're not specific denying anything for you. However, if you ask something to block it, they will block it. If government asks something to block for everyone, they will block it. Everyone? Yes, go ahead.
Sure, why we need the physical firewall?
What?
Sure, why we need physical firewall?
Why we need
physical hardware for a firewall? Why software is not enough?
Software means, why? Because firewall is very critical, right? Firewall is very critical. That is the reason in firewall you have hardware, software, both. Hardware means the full box you can buy, and full box is supported by the vendor. If anything happen on its operating system or anything, patches and everything will be updated by the vendor itself. While if you buy the hardware, software, right, the server you have to set up yourself. Maybe possible that it requires 128 GB RAM, you have less RAM, some problem may happen on the server operating system level, then firewall vendor is not going to support on the operating system. You know what I mean? You have to patch and everything you have to do yourself. That is the reason why if you buy hardware, the operating system and everything is supported by the vendor. So this firewall is generally on the gate, and it's a very critical device. That's why it's recommended to go for hardware for instead of software. The whole hardware itself belongs to the vendor, while in case of software, the server belongs to you. It will be cheaper one. Software firewall, software devices are always cheaper because hardware is owned by you. Get it? If you have less usage, you can assign less hardware resources. High usage, you can assign high resources. But firewall is fixed resource, right? So always hardware will be always, any device you buy, hardware will be always costlier than the software. But because of these supports and all, we buy the hardware. Recommended is to go with the hardware firewall, right? But hardware, software, both are coming. It's going on both modules. Got it?
Sir, can the static rules be deleted or modified?
What would have come back?
Can the static rules in the ACL be deleted or modified as per the requirement?
When we delete, you're asking?
Can we delete or modify?
Of course, you can delete. For example, we have seen that being a part of the security team, we have seen that one of the IP address successfully connected to this particular destination of our internal IP address, right? And you've seen the IP address, highly malicious IP address. Some incident happened, some malware communication happened, right? Now you have to stop this communication. Being a part of it, this is what you are going to do. Whenever there is successful activity will happen, being a software will monitor those activities. Else you found the activity suspicious, right? So you have to stop those activities. You come to know this is the IP address from which communication happens successfully. Means firewall allowed the traffic. Now, as a remediation step to stop this activity, you have to block that particular IP address, right? So this particular IP address will block on the static role, right? In just run command, for example, Cisco firewall, if you have, you can write just run command and enter IP address 199.0.5.100. For example, you just run this command, IP address will be blocked on the firewall for inbound and outbound both. While you have the option also to create the inbound and outbound rule. But if you want to block certain IP address for all communication, you can just run the sun command. Just one command on command line, it will block all the communication on all port number. If you run sun IP address space port number, then this particular IP address will be disallowed for particular port number only. Right? If you want to create certain static rules, particular IP address should be disallowed for particular IP address for particular port number. That kind of rules also you can create, or general, or you can also block particular IP itself for any inbound outbound communication. Get it? So in case you see, being a SOC team, you'll see certain times you have daily activities. You see some connection has been to inside network, it's around the firewall, it's malicious activities, right? As an incident response, we'll create a case and inform to the firewall team. That team, we are seeing high number of successful connection from this particular IP address, and we check IP belongs to North Korea and it is highly blacklisted, right? Kindly go ahead and block this IP on the firewall. You raise this case in the firewall team to block it. The firewall team go and will run this sun command and block it. In this case, we have to block it, right? And certain time there might be possible that some real vendor or accessing some of the resources, they're not able to access because of firewall is blocking the network, because it is a part of dynamic ACL, right? Then you have the option, okay, you call Cisco team or Fortinet team and ask them to remove it. It's a lengthy process, right? Then do one thing, you allow that particular IP to the static rule. For example, now you tell me that command is yaar. For example,
I have a question.
one moment, let me tell this one first, then you ask the question. This particular vendor having this particular IP address, you have you have this server for some of the services. You have given access to him that this particular, you created account here. This particular vendor should be able to access this particular app, should be accessing this particular. So application, you have created his username, ID, and password. But when this particular vendor accessing the resources on the browser or something, he is not able to access. He is not getting the page itself. Connection is not being established. This vendor tell to you from your team, not firewall team, your application team, that I'm not able to access the application. Then now he said, might be your network is blocking my connection. Then you reach out to the network team or firewall team, saying that this particular vendor is having this particular IP address and he's not able to access. Now how we will decide, how we'll come to know whether problem is on our end, maybe router does not have the root or firewall has not allowed the traffic, or maybe his company itself is blocking his connection is not leaving from his network. They may be possible, the problem is his network side, or problem his network side, or maybe somewhere in the internet ISP firewall is blocking somewhere. Yes or no? There are multiple firewalls and routers in between, because he belongs to India and the server belongs to Singapore. His company also having firewall and routers. His company also following the router, and in between ISPs all having multiple hosts. We call it hosts. Router we call as hosts, right? So multiple router firewall in between is having. So where the connection is actually being blocked, how will come to know? How will you come to know whether when this person is accessing this particular application, where the connection is being blocked?
Using Wireshark. Using Wireshark.
Route.
By tracer command.
Which command?
Traceroute.
Traceroute or traceroute command. No, using traceroute command in Windows, I think it's traceroute, and in Linux we call it traceroute. In Windows and Linux both, you can run this command. Traceroute or traceroute. In Windows it is, I think, traceroute, and in Linux it is traceroute. What command it is? Traceroute. or everybody run this command. Okay, from Windows it is reset, right? Can anybody confirm? It is for Windows, right?
Yeah.
Reset
Yes, yes.
Windows, and
Yes,
this is
sir.
for Linux. Trace
Unix.
This is for Linux trace route, right? Once you run this trace route, run what type? Just type. One moment. Just a moment. 1 minute. Give me a second. Once you run this trace, so command, how will you run? You understand, right? In your desktop and laptop desktop, there is a command prompt, right? Just go on the search. Previously, we only can access through run. Otherwise, nowadays, go on the search and type CMD. What will you type? CMD. And especially for people who have never seen command line, never used command line on a desktop, right? You type CMD, right?
Sir.
Once you type
Sir.
CMD, yes.
Sir, you are speaking into 1.5 speed. Could you please speak slow?
1.5?
You are speaking very fast.
Where it is 1.5?
Sir, you are speaking very fast.
Achha.
Could you please speak slow?
I thought you were saying that my Zoom is 1.5. I was little bit speaking fast because I know that these videos are already on YouTube. So that is the reason I thought, let me finish this basic topic fast. Because these are very basic, right? Everybody, almost people have seen on your YouTube videos, and you can revise it also. That is because we have a lot of topics, important topics. कम कर दूं? बंद ही कर दूं क्या? We have a lot of important topics, right? That is the reason I thought to be little fast. But okay, it's okay. I'll be little slow. Even when I speak fast, it takes my more energy, more effort. Okay, so अब कैसे slow होना वो सोचना पड़ेगा. So what I'm saying is, you type CMD. ये basic class में थोड़ा जल्दी करने का fast करना. ये very basic classes, right? I thought to complete it little fast because we have a lot of topics, and some of the new topics I also added. So I have to finish it within the time. So after finishing this class, you watch the videos on YouTube, at least for basics. Again, recap it. But let me be little slow.
Sir, one doubt.
Yes.
Shun command, where we have to use?
Shun command is
like.
I just give an example. Different firewalls have a different command. This shun command is in Cisco firewall, belongs to Cisco firewall. In Cisco firewall, if you want to block any traffic, right? So go on the command line of Cisco firewall, right? And run this command shun and enter the IP address. That means it will get blocked on the Cisco firewall. Just give an example of What?
Sir, actually, last year ransom virus attacks to flew client servers. That time, why Fortinet protected like not updated that time?
You understand, right? Those are the human. Those are the human who are doing the research, right? Attackers, as I said, attackers are very intelligent. They might not have used the IP address which have been previously blacklisted. They might have used new IP address which never involve in any kind of security. Right? So that is the reason we are going to cover some other tools also, security tools. But even though we have all the cyber security tools, still you cannot say that your network is 100% secure, because all the devices work on the predefined signature. If nobody has updated the signature, in that case, your network, your data is prone to be compromised. Yes or no? Security guard is human being. Even though security guard, you have given, okay, Vivek, his name is coming for the interview, but if Vivek is coming with the gun, security guard has his own common sense. Even you have not told security guard, if anybody coming with the gun, do not allow, still security guard can use his own common sense and he will catch him and he will call the police without you inform to security guard, right? Because security guard is human being having his own mind, his own common sense, but these devices are programmed. What information you have given to those devices that call a signature, based on that, the security guard will work. If you have not added the signature, this device will not. Who is on mute? Sajan Singh. Guys, I'll mute. I'll remove anybody who is speaking by turning on the mic. I'll remove them for the meeting strictly. Once you ask the question, keep your mic on mute again, right? Do not speak on the back, do not create background noise, please. So you understand, right? What I'm saying, what I was saying? I said security guard is human being. That is the reason. You cannot say that why it is compromised. It will happen. Even the giant company which are expert, which are giant in providing cyber security services to other company, they themselves get compromised, right? 1 or 2 years back, Wipro got compromised. Wipro client got compromised. First of all, attacker compromised Wipro company, and then through that, because Wipro employees has access to the client, and through that network, they have compromised their client. Wipro is a big company providing cyber security services. They themselves got compromised. Cognizant in cyber security services, they themselves got compromised, right? So you cannot say that your network is 100% secure. Even you have all the available security devices, because most of the devices are work based on predefined information. If you have not defined, mean device will not be able to detect it. Right? There will be several attacks. That's the reason you guys are here. That's the reason you guys are here. Even though we have the security device, very secure devices, still we have to keep monitoring whether anything suspicious activity, and that is why we use SIEM, that we are going to understand. We'll monitor all the devices activities on the SIEM tool. Means even we have security guard, still you have CCTV surveillance. SIEM is a kind of CCTV surveillance where you can keep an eye what all activities happening across the network. You can monitor it using the SIEM tools. Understand? Got your answer? So I was telling CMD, command prompt, type CMD in a search, and then type traceroute or tracert on Windows, and give the IP address. This particular system IP address is 190, 190, for example, 196, whatever IP you have given, 196.0.2.20, right? Do the trace route. If you run this command, right, it will send a packet to this particular destination, right? And it will check, it will give you all the router information where the packet has been reached, right? It'll give, okay, packet reach first of all your gateway router, it will give the IP of gateway router. Then your ISP router, it will give the IP address router. Then some other international gateway router, international gateway, it will reach it here. Then Singapore ISP router, then whatever router, then where it is blocking. Last, for example, last IP address 196.0 or something, not this one. And after that connection is not going through, then you will understand this particular device is blocking the connection after the connector is not going through. Most of the time, blocking will happen either in your network or in destination company network. So if you get the firewall IP address, after that is not going through, you'll come to know firewall will be blocking the connection after firewall is not going through the destination. So this traceroute command we use to troubleshoot network connectivity related issues. Whenever we have any problem, network team will say that, okay, before we troubleshoot, do one thing, run the traceroute command and share the screenshot. So we can identify where actually it is blocking, right? When he shared the screenshot, he came to know that his company itself is blocking the connection. The connection is not going through its gateway router or gateway firewall it's having, right? Then we ask them to troubleshoot, work with their own firewall team to fix the problem. Because the firewall itself is blocking the connection, it's not hitting to our firewall. Got it? There are several
questions.
One moment. There are several commands that you should know as a basics of commands, right? So you can keep it as a homework, such as you should run and see the result, such as from CMD that you can run. First of all, ping. Ping command is for what? For what purpose you use ping command?
Test the connectivity.
Destination is whether
Right.
destination is up
for
or
new
down.
connection.
Whether connectivity is enabled between the source and destination or not. Right? You want to access some application, you can write ping and IP address of particular application to check whether connectivity is there or not. Right? So ping command, if you have never run the ping command, you run the ping command, you check it out, what is the IP address of Google or any of the website, check on the Google, right? And enter the IP address and check what result you are getting, right? Generally, it will send 4 packet and wait for acknowledge. Send packet, acknowledge, send, acknowledge, send, acknowledge, send, acknowledge. All the packets send and acknowledge, that means connectivity is enabled. Sometimes, again, not muted. Sometimes when there is slower network, right, some packet might be lost in between, right? Packet loss means network having latency. Some packet has been dropped because of the latency. Get one. So when you run this ping command, right, for example, this particular system IP is 196.0.2.100, right? You ping from particular system and enter this particular IP address. Once you ping, it will send the packet, receive the acknowledge, right? So it will send the packet and receive the acknowledge, and it will enter the time also in millisecond. Means how much time it took to send and receive the packet, and based on that you can evaluate how fast is your system, how fast your network between source and destination, how fast is the connectivity. If millisecond is less, means faster connectivity. Millisecond is high, means latency in the network. Yes or no? Latency, how is, see, latency, the network latency, network speed, it depends on the end-to-end speed. For example, if you have taken 1 GPS connection from your end, means your speed is faster. But the server that you are going to connect, they have taken 100 Mbps connection. So when you ping any packet you send, from your end it is faster, but their end is slower. Yes or no? So at the end speed will be slower. That is the reason some application that you download is fast, some application is slow, some data transfer is fast, some data transfer is slow, because it depends on end-to-end bandwidth. Yes or no? From tank you have big pipe which are leaving from the tank, but at your home you have smaller pipe. Will you get the same water? No, right? Because it depends on the overall size of the pipe. If pipe is same from source to destination, you will get good speed of water. If pipe is small anywhere, either your side is smaller or on the tank side it is smaller mouth, right? So you'll get lesser water. Similarly, the internet speed depends on between source and destination, what is the actual bandwidth. That is the reason you cannot say that this website is working slow, this website is fast, download is fast, download is slow. It will happen because it is dependent on the overall speed, right? But if you have taken the less bandwidth connection, but all applications are higher bandwidth, you'll get slower speed. So better you take a higher bandwidth application. So applications which are responding fast, having high bandwidth, you'll get faster. Applications which are slower, you get slower speed. Get it? So in the ping, you check the connectivity as well as network latency. Also, you can check in the form of ping as per the response. Once you run the ping command, you will see the millisecond time. Get it? So that is the ping command. Another is IP config. IP config. अरे क्या हो गया? हाँ क्या हो गया? हाँ, IP config. For what is the purpose of IP config?
To know the IP address.
To know the
IP address.
IP address of the system, right? What is the IP address?
System details, overall system details of the computer.
What? What all?
Overall details of the system.
Details mean what details?
Computer details, sir.
Detail means host name also, MAC address also. You have to be specific here, not overall data. This is not the right answer. Overall data means MAC address also, host name also. It is not going to come, right? You have to set that like IP address, subnet mask, gateway, right? These information you'll get on the IP config. Get it? So mostly we said that it's to know if you want to check your system, what is the IP address right now configured on your system. You can run this command IP config and you can get the information of your IP address, right? There's one more command, IP config / all, IP config / all. If you will, you'll get the DNS address also. Subnet, gateway, like same as along with that, you'll get DNS, means what is the DNS address configured on your system. You'll also get using IP config. Apart from that, there are some more commands that you should know, you should run on your system. Everybody should be aware of that. These are basic networking commands that everybody should know it. If you don't know, I know that majority of people must have already used it, but whoever has never used it, run it from system, right? And what else? Which all trace route you have already written, right? Apart from that, you have telnet command, right? What is the use of telnet command? Generally used to check the connectivity or to take the remote access to the system. Use telnet command. SSH. You learn all SSH. And what else? Netstat command. Netstat. Correct here, netstat. Correct, na? Netstat means what is the use of netstat command? What is the use of that?
It gives you the
running app details, sir. Running apps, running in your
Give the
system
active
running
connection
details.
status.
Especially netstat command is to check the port number.
network status and protocol status.
Port and protocol.
You can see the open ports.
Which ports number open are being used, right? So
Yes.
you want to deploy certain application on your system, right? But maybe possible that on which port number you are using, some other services are already using the port number, right? So you can run netstat command and check what is the free port number, what is the open port number, right? You can check by running the netstat command. So these are some of the important, the commands that you should know, right? Write it as a homework. Okay, somebody was asking a question. You can ask me now. Somebody, when I was explaining this, somebody was trying
Sir,
default gateway means router IP address.
Right.
In
From where
private
the
IP address.
From where the connection is leaving, right? That will be the IP address of your gateway. Gateway means from where the connection is going to the internet, right? That IP address is called as gateway IP address, right? Like you're at home, IP address of your router will you call as gateway IP. Okay, default gateway.
It means private, our home private.
Yes, it depends. It depends. If you have private route, if you have another router in between, then another router in between, right? For this particular system, this router is the gateway router. For this particular router, it may be another router is the gateway router, right? So how the system is leaving, the immediate router will be called as gateway. For this system, this will be the gateway router. For other system, it may be other system is the gateway router, right? So how the system is used, the nearest router will be gateway router.
Okay, in that case, will extender be having another, IP?
Which one? IP address
extender.
of what?
Extender, Wi-Fi extender we use, right? So it connects to the router. So it will have a single IP or two IPs?
So if just to extend, right? It's a kind of switch.
Yeah.
It is a kind of switch, not router. It's a switch to extend the network. I also have router. I have one router, I have two routers. So that is kind of switch, working as a switch. Okay, got it? So somebody was asking some question. You clear, right? When I was saying, I said you asked me a little later.
And what about subnet mask?
Subnet mask, you already understand, right? Subnet mask means when we write 992.168.0. For example, .0 or .0, right? Slash 16, right? The subnet means how many combinations can be created, right? Series of network that call as subnet mask, right? I had given the homework also, IP address and how to resolve it. That goes subnet mask. So now you understand firewall, right? So firewall, let me draw this again quickly. In the corporate networks, you will see ideally the firewall is behind the router. Okay, firewall is generally you will see the behind the router. You have gateway, you have router, means your internet access, internet will be terminated on the router, and behind that you will have the firewall, right? However, you have the option to deploy to remove this router and deploy directly firewall. You can terminate your connection directly in the firewall as well, because firewall also work on the layer 3, right? The routing work can be done on the firewall itself. But in the bigger company, you will have router and firewall separately. Behind the router, you have the firewall. Let's router do the routing and let's firewall do the filtering. Yes or no? Get in mind? So network routing work also can be done with firewall. With smaller company, you might not use the router. Like in our lab, we are terminating directly connection to the firewall instead of router. Small company, right? But big companies, if one person is doing all the work, right, he will be overloaded and he cannot do the work properly. That is the reason in big companies, you will have internal connection terminated in the router, and behind the router, you will have the gateway firewall. Understand? Clear this? Yeah. So firewall, right? Yes.
So how about the perimeter firewall?
How to?
Perimeter firewall.
This firewall itself is called as perimeter or gateway, right? So perimeter is what we call it. This is the circle, right? And this is called a perimeter. Yes or no? That means on the gate, it's a gate, right? If you want to go somewhere, it's a perimeter, right? So this gateway firewall also called as perimeter gateway, perimeter firewall. I will call a gateway firewall or perimeter firewall. This router is called a gateway router or perimeter router. Understand?
Thank you.
So either you call a perimeter firewall or gateway firewall. Both are same thing. So now you understand that firewall is a kind of interface between one network to another network, and gateway firewall is the interface between internal to external network, right? Whatever traffic comes in, it will filter out, as well as whatever traffic go out, it will also filter out. If this particular system should not talk to this particular computer, then you can break up policies, right? A particular destination IP is part of blacklisted IP, firewall will block it, right? So firewall filter out the inbound and outbound traffic, right? A malicious connection will block it out, and if it is legitimate connection, it will allow, right? With the help of ACL, and ACL can be a dynamic and static. Means dynamic ACL is between the cloud, vendor cloud, as well as dynamic static ACL. We can update ourselves. Understand? So that is how the firewall will work. Which port number, which protocol, and what is the IP address. Based on that, firewall will filter out the traffic. Got it?
Sir, one doubt, sir.
Yes.
Sir, on what basis the connections are going out from the organization, right? That will be blocked. In what cases it will be blocked?
In what cases maybe particular IP address is blacklisted, right? If you talk about especially in the firewall, there are other devices when you access the internet website like facebook.com, twitter.com, right? For any website you access, right? There is one more device which can regulate what website you can access. But normally, if you don't have that device, normally the connection is going outside, right? If IP address is blacklisted, malicious, then the connection will be blocked by default on the firewall. To regulate your internal access, there is one more device called as proxy that I'll be covering on the later stage. However, if any communication malicious connected to malicious IP address, right, firewall will block it. If firewall knows that particular IP is malicious, in that case it will block it. Understand? May possible that machine is infected. This particular machine, you got a malware email. Somebody has opened that email. Machine got infected. Now, once for example, it's a Trojan. And Trojan has the tendency to create the backdoor. That means once Trojan installed, it will give the connection to attacker command and control server. So this Trojan is having the IP of attacker command and control server. Once it is trying to connect, it will go through a firewall, and a firewall has the part of ACL, that a particular IP address, as a malicious IP address. Hence, firewall will block the connection. Understand? In that case, also firewall will block connection. Got it?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can we write a static rule for a separate computer in a same server for a single computer?
Separate computer means IP address you should have, right? IP address. You can write any rule you can write. From this system, this particular IP address allowed to this particular port number. This particular system allowed to IP to this particular system. Right? Generally, we write for server on which we have the enterprise application installed. Not for user system, you will not write. You write for the server which have enterprise application installed. Not for
That's what I'm asking. Can we write as user defined static rules, sir, in a server?
That is what I'm saying, right? User defined means static rules. That firewall team will define what policy you want to create. The static rule. Got it?
Sir,
Hmm.
sir,
Yes.
the Windows firewall, which we find it in an individual PC, is it a software-based firewall or a hardware-based firewall?
You tell me
And-
yourself. You tell me yourself. If your firewall is in your system, can you see that firewall?
No,
It
sir.
is software based.
It's software, of course.
So-
That you can't see. Hardware means it's a box that you can see and you're near to you. If you can't see it, means it's a software.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Got it? If you can't see, means installing a system as a software firewall. Hardware means physical, means you can see it physically. That is called as hardware. Hardware means you have the box, you can see it physically. The system is a hardware because I can see the hardware, right? If I can't see anything, software you cannot see physically. But installing a system is a software.
So,
Okay.
I thought like any component, hardware component installed within the PC. That was my doubt.
No, not like that. It's software application and install. It's not something. I understand. I got your question. Maybe one chip installed as a firewall. It's not like that. It's a software which has been installed. Some application has been downloaded and has been installed. It's software.
But the question is, sir, like when we have the firewall in our PC, right? Windows PC, can we apply any rules to it, or can we set up any rules?
This kind of firewall is called as this one. What we call as a host level of firewall. Host level of firewall. This is difficult to make the separate rules for those firewalls. Generally, in the company, you have host level of firewall disabled. Windows PC, for example, or Linux, you have default firewall, right? That is called a host level of firewall. Every host will have a firewall, right? Managing a rule for different hosts is very difficult. That's the reason mostly in the company you have network firewall. In network security firewall is for whole network, right? You can make the rule on the whole network of your firewall, what has to be allowed, what has to be disallowed. Majority of the company, you will not enable the host level of firewall, it will be already disabled. Because whatever has to be allowed, disallowed, you can allow, disallow on the network level of firewall, network security firewall, right? On your home computer, it is enabled already. So sometimes something you're accessing it may be blocked, you can disable the firewall if you want. Okay, so the network level firewall, network security firewall, but this is host level of firewall. The network firewall is deployed on the network, whole network, and this is the host level of firewall. Host level. This is a network level, right? On the network, and this host is a host firewall, or this is called as network firewall. It is a network, whole network. Got it? Clear, everybody? Shall we go ahead? So now you understand. So now, for example, this is one of the server you have. 197.0.5.1. And this is your system. This is attacker system. Attacker has the IP address 75.0.2.100. You have one of the application installed on port number 443. 443. Just give me a moment, okay? I'm just coming. Give me a moment. Vinod Kumar, you are not in mute. Okay, so what I was telling, this is one of the attacker system. Okay, and this is one of your application. Application will be accessible on port number 443, right? This is an attacker system. Attacker has want to do some activities, right? So once attacker wants to delete some data from the database, right? What will happen is once attacker will communicate, it will happen in the form of packets. Yes or no? So once the packet hit to the router will open the layer 2 information, layer 3 information, and route the traffic based on the source IP and destination IP. One packet hit to the firewall. Firewall will open on the header source IP, destination IP. It check this is a source IP and this is the destination IP. Yes or no? Source IP is this particular IP, and check it is not part of malicious list, right? And this is the destination server. And if any IP is not malicious, it is allowed on the port number 443. You have right in the static policies that any IP address that is not malicious should be allowed to this particular server on port number 443. Yes or no? Because website should be accessible for everyone, right? And resulting, but the attacker was smart. It has added some deletion command, some modification command on the data part, right? But since IP address is not blacklisted and traffic is allowed on port number 443 for everyone, the firewall has allowed the traffic. And this particular data part is having some deletion command, some modification command, resulting the command has run on the database and it has deleted the database. Got your mind? Because firewall does not know. Firewall can decide, this network security firewall can decide based on the header only. It does not have visibility in the data packet, what data is being requested, what command has been run to delete the database. What happens, generally what happens is, for example, this is a Facebook, right? This is the application of Facebook, for example. Correct. So that's right. So what happens is, this is one server. First of all, whenever you have to install application, right, you have to configure one server and you have to configure IP address 199.0.0.5, whatever IP address. Configure IP address. Then you will install one application, facebook.com. Application will have a backend database, DB, to store the data, whatever, for example, Facebook, whatever profile information, photos, everything you have uploaded, it will be uploaded on, it will be stored on the backend database. Once you access the website, it goes to the application. Then once you click on my profile, again customer will go to the application and application will retrieve the data from the backend database, right? For example, this data part is having some malicious command. It will go to the application, and from application it will run the command on the database, resulting whereby it is possible that it is malicious command and it will delete the database. It will modify the database. So you can say that even though we have the network security firewall does not have access to the data part of the packet, right? And resulting, attacker may delete, modify, or manipulate any kind of database. This particular device does not have visibility. It will only allow or disallow the traffic based on the IP address, port number, and protocol. It does not have visibility to the database, what command is being run, whether it is allow or disallow, whether it's malicious or not. Means we cannot regulate what command user can run. We cannot regulate. If anybody can run malicious command, it still can be executed by the application on the database by manipulating, by modifying, deletion, or maybe attacker can steal some information. Some retrieval command it will run, get and post command, and it can retrieve some critical information, proprietary information from the database, right? This the firewall does not know. Firewall only can regulate the traffic based on the IP, the port number, and protocol. So don't you think that in that case we should have some device which has a visibility on the data part of the packet? Yes or no? So what is that device? Anybody knows?
IPS.
WAP.
It's a web application firewall. Web application firewall.
Correct. Both answers are correct. Right now we are introducing a web application firewall, but IPS IDS also have the visibility on layer number on the application layer, right? But here we are going to introduce one more level of security control that is called as WAF. web application firewall. Web stands for web application firewall. Web application firewall, which have the visibility of data part of the packet. Data part of the packet. Web application firewall. Let me draw it again with the architecture. What happens generally, web application firewalls, yes, you know that will have access to the data part also. What data being sent, what data being requested, a firewall can open that and will come to know and can regulate it, right? Generally, web application firewall, and not generally, it is actually name is web application. Web application firewall, that means web application security. Yes or no? So web application means any application which has to be allowed for outside user. Web application means which are accessible on port number 80 and 443. To secure those applications, we deploy web application firewall. For example, your company website, your company any application which is accessible for outside user, right? On port number 80 or 443. For those security, we use web application firewall. The name itself suggests web application firewall. Application means web means browser, through browser, any application which you can use browser. For that we use web application firewall. Understand? Because web application are the only application which we allow outside user to access directly. Get it? I mean, all other resources of the company outside user cannot access. Only web application we allow people to access from outside, and only web application will have the public IP address. Rest all of your system will have the private IP address. People from outside cannot access those systems directly. Understand what I'm saying? Only web application can allow to access directly, right? If web application, for example, Facebook.com. Facebook.com will have public IP or private IP? Facebook.com will have public IP.
Public IP.
If I give private IP to Facebook.com, will the people will be able to access? No, right?
No,
sir. Means your internal system that you have here, all this user have the private IP, but the application, web application that you want outside user to access, right, will have the public IP address. Yes or no? For example,
yes.
You have some applications here. This is switch, for example, you have one application, two applications. So these are application hosted for 193.0.4.50, 193.0.4.51. There are many applications, for example, these are servers on which you have installed web applications, some website. So company will have different applications, right, which are hosted here. Those applications you want that, like Facebook, you have Insta, right? You want them to be accessible from outside user. That is the reason you have configured public IP address. Yes or no? Now any user can connect and can manipulate, modify, can malicious activity they can do, right? IP address can be checked by the firewall. By the firewall, and generally even malicious IP address we are not looking as part of firewall, because anybody should be able to access the facebook.com, right? They will not block anything on port number 443 from any IP address, because generally, user IP address malicious also, still you can access the facebook.com. Anybody can use, right? Generally, they will not enable dynamic ACL for this particular facebook.com, but it depends on company to company, right? But you know that only IP address, port number and protocol firewall will be able to monitor, but what data actually, what command actually running by by the user cannot be monitored by this network security firewall. But you know that this application access has to be given for outside user, but they can run any kind of malicious command, right? So for that, we have to deploy what? Web application firewall. So web application is only for web is only for web application security. WAF. So here you will deploy the WAF. For rest of the network, you will not deploy the WAF. Just before the web application, you deploy the WAF. Means whatever traffic is coming in and going to the web application, before that you have to deploy the WAF. Understand what I'm saying? Right? Only for web application, that's why your name itself suggests web application firewall means the application which are deployed, which can be accessed using web. Web means web browser. And website can be accessed which port number? Which port number you can access any website? Or deploy
80 and 443.
80 and 443. If it is HTTP, then 80. If it is HTTPS, then 443. Yes or no? So behind those web application, you will have WAF. And ideally, the web application which you have given access to outside user, because we have to secure from outside only, outside people only, right? So for that, you will have WAF. So you know what happens in network? Generally, network you will subdivide in multiple zones. Any of the company will divide the network in multiple zones. Based on that, they will implement the security. The security requirement is based on the zone, and zone is defined based on the usage for what is the purpose of those different applications, right? Generally, थोड़ा मैं छोटा बना दिया, थोड़ा बड़ा बनाता हूँ यहाँ पे. Just I will cover the WAF, then we'll take a break. Okay, just 5-10 minutes. We'll take a break after that. In which company you will see different zones. Yes, any confusion? They switch. Maybe behind you have one firewall. Then you have router. Then you have a switch. Sorry, and a switch. Then it's the simplest network I'm drawing right now. Switch. You can see this. See the web application means this network, right? And this server, which you have to give outside access to outside people, means some web application has been deployed 199.0.2.100. In these applications, in this servers, you give it access to outside public. Yes or no? Means outside people which are connected from outside, they should be able to connect. Means this application will have the public IP address. Means outside, this is your internal network, they are your network, but outside people can also come to your network. Yes or no? Can connect to the network. Can they should go to this network? No, this is internal network. Inside user, inside system, or inside server, which has to be accessible only from inside people. But this you can see. So I cannot mix all together, because these servers outside people should have access, but these servers should not have access. Those applications should not have access, right? So that is the reason we do the zoning. on the network, right? This zone where we deploy the application, web application, mostly web application, only web applications should be accessible by outside people websites, right? So whichever area, whichever place we deploy, whichever zone, set of network, set of devices where we deploy any application, web application, where we give the access to outside people, that zone we call a DMZ zone. We call as DMZ zone. This zone we call as DMZ zone. DMZ. What we call as DMZ zone means demilitarized zone. Why we call it demilitarized zone? DMZ means DMZ means DMG, demilitarized zone. Why we call it demilitarized zone? What is called as militarized zone? Militarized zone means, are you allowed
Only authorized person can access.
Militarized zone means outside people cannot go inside. It's a militarized zone. Military zone, military people can go inside. Yes or no?
And security.
Military and demilitarized.
Anybody can
security
go.
features.
Anybody
can access.
It's
So
less
why we
secure.
call it- that is the reason we call it demilitarized zone. Means outside people can also access this system, that application. That is this zone we call a demilitarized zone. And what application? Web application they can access, right? Any web application which we have to give access to outside people, will have to configure public IP address and give the access to them. So they can come inside. It's your network, but still they can come inside. That is then this zone we call a demilitarized zone. Yes or no? In this firewall, the rule has been implemented in such a way that people can come inside and access the application. Right? And this zone is internal zone. Internal people can only they are in this zone, they can access anything outside, but this zone is for internal people. This zone we call it internal zone. Internal zone. So you know what happens? It's not something that in company you will have one firewall only. You will have several different firewall. Maybe after this main gateway firewall, you may have certain firewall here also. And where you create DMZ related zone, DMZ related policies. Here you will have internal firewall. In this network, you will have one more internal firewall, because somebody who has already allowed the firewall to go in the DMZ zone, but maybe it is already across the firewall, it can go through internal network. You'll have certain more robust rule, so the people who cross the firewall to come inside, they cannot cross and go to internal network. To have more security, you'll have one more firewall called internal firewall. On DMZ, you have firewall to allow to make DMZ related DMZ firewall, the internal firewall. This zone we may call a PCI zone, for example. PCI, anybody knows what is PCI? What is called as PCI?
Payment card industrial.
Payment card industry data. What is data we call as payment card industry PCI data? What kind of data we call as PCI data?
Credit card data.
Credit card, bank account details, debit card.
Right. Payment card industry data, right? Payment card industry data, such as debit card, credit card, user ID, password, right? CVV number, right? This data is called as payment card industry data, right? For example, you are working, your company is a bank, right? Or having bank related project, right? So where you keep this kind of data, that is called as PCI data, right? And PCI data is very critical. Yes or no? Only authorized, some people, only authorized people should have access. Only few people, even people, internal people also should not be able to access it. Very critical data. Only certain people with certain roles can access it. It's more secure. So this secure zone we call as PCI zone, and you'll have another firewall called PCI firewall. And here we'll have very restricted rules. Very restricted rules. Only some of the authorized people can access it. With after certain. So auditor, see, this is something which auditing, this is something defined by government, that for PCI zone you have a PCI different zone and should have minimum access to people. With some of the restricted access you should have, right? The auditor comes every year and they verify whether you have these all rule implemented or not. These all different zoning is defined by the government policy, compliance policies. you have to access you have to have firewall, you have to have the WAF defined, you should have the proxy, right? These all are the part of compliance requirement. Any company even do not bother about security, they have to bother because of the data security. Depending on the type of industry, what kind of data you are handling, government have defined different compliance policies. The working banking domain, the firewall you should have different zones, you should have web, you should have IPS ideas, you should have security operations center monitoring it. But different type of industry based on what kind of data handling, government has made the compliance policies. Set of rules, what security, cyber security policy you have to follow. And every year auditor will come and they will audit, means follow, check it out whether you are following the compliance or not, whether specific tools and policies you have implemented or not. If you have not implemented, whereas less you are, they may give the warning and ask you to implement. If you are repeating, they may cancel the license, because not all the companies are bothering about your data security. It's the government which is bothering about your data security, right? If government do not make the compliance policies, your data may be gone to the internet and may be leaked, right? Because it's not loss of the company only, it's loss of users, loss of public, it's a loss of government, it's a loss of whole country. So government ensure that the kind of data you are handling, you have the restrictive specific tools, technologies, policy in place to ensure the users data security or public data security. That's the reason sometimes you will see people, "Arey, audit chal raha hai, audit chal raha hai. I'm very occupied. I'm coming from office from 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock because audit time is going on." Right? Audit is very critical. If audit got failed, means there is chances your company license get cancelled also. If the big issue. So we have to be very careful by following security policy. Many of the companies may not be aware what is SIEM. What is SIEM? And now I'm getting a very inquiry from, especially from UK. In UK, some of the industry were not coming under for SIEM deployment SOC, right? Now government of UK has pushed the policy, compliance policies, that these industries also has to set up SOC department and has to deploy the SIEM tool. They do not know what is SIEM, how to configure SOC, but it's a compliance policies. They have to ensure that they should have the SIEM and SOC in place. So they are not bothered about what SIEM they have to go. They are saying that we have to go the cheaper SIEM and we have to set up the SOC. You define what SIEM we have to go. We just want to follow the compliance to make ourselves, our company as a compliant. Get it? It's a government which creates certain compliance policy, and every company, every industry, different type of industry, they have to follow the compliance policies. Get it? But different zone, we can define in the company once you go, right? There will be what people will be. DMG application has some problem. Oh, the application is internal application. Internal means only accessible internally to all employees or whatever authorized employees, right? PCI means the data which are handling a PCI related information. Sometimes you have PII zone also. PII, you know what is PII?
Personal identification information.
Personal identification information. What are those? Such as?
Like Aadhaar card, PAN card.
Right. Aadhaar card, PAN card, or you have voter ID card, driving license, SSN number in USA, Social Security number in USA, SN number, right? So these are personal identification information, your address, your phone number, right? So these information will be stored on the PII zone. So it depends. So you will hear this word, this kind of word. The DMG server has the problem. Particular application is the DMG part. You can identify, you understand. If somebody asking that DMG application, that means the application which outside people are accessing. Maybe it's a website, an application which if somebody, oh, that server is internal server, means internal people are only accessing, not outside. PCI means handling some payment card related data, PCI information. So different zone has been divided in the company. You'll hear this. What is very important? That's why when I explain you. It's important to understand that different zones. Okay. So now WAF will be on the DMG zone, right? Means any application which is given access to outside people application. So behind that you will have WAF. WAF is again having the ACL static and dynamic. Yes or no? Based on the, again, for example, there are multiple vendors for WAF. What are those? Anybody knows? WAF vendors. Anybody knows?
Imperva.
WebSense. Imperva is very famous.
Also.
Imperva and and
blue coat,
barracuda, and
blue coat.
Blue coat. Blue coat is a proxy. Web. I did not. I not whether blue coat has the WAF also or not. Blue coat has the WAF also. Blue coat proxy is very famous. I'm not sure about the WAF. These are some of the vendors which are very famous for web application. Symantec also have the WAF. So these are some of the vendors which are very famous for WAF, right? So WAF you deploy generally behind the before the web applications, right? Again, it's at the ACL. If you buy the firewall WAF from the Imperva, right? Again, the firewall will have ACL, and ACL again static and dynamic. All the malicious commands and anything will be updated on the dynamic ACL, as well as something you can allow or disallow on the static ACL. Some rules you can create. You know, if you're having some application sometime, for example, some website you access, right? If you enter the password, wrong password 2-3 times, you may get the captcha. After 2, the firewall it's through WAF only. WAF will sense that somebody is entering, somebody trying to do the brute force. Maybe it is brute force, right? Maybe you are using some script. Maybe you are using some script, right? Some brute force software. You say there are some brute force software coming. For example, you want to enter on ICICIbank.com, right? You enter username, ID, and password. Incorrect. Again, you enter ID, password, incorrect. You will try 2-3 times, but you will not try 100 times. There are software. There are some software we call brute force software, where you can try 100 times, 1,000 times within a minute. This brute force software are a combination of user and password. You can keep single username and try with multiple combination of password, permutation and combination of passwords. Yes or no? 1,000 times, 1 lakh time. Every time trying login field, trying login, maybe any of the password will work, right? If you try 1,000 times and any of the password will work, right, means you will gain the access. This is called a brute force attack. This attack is called a brute force attack. Any of the system which have the login form, any of system or application which has the login form, right, attacker may try to gain the unauthorized access by entering the permutation and combination of user and password. They may keep same username, multiple password, or multiple password, or one password with multiple username to gain the unauthorized access, right? This kind of attack is called as brute force attack. It can happen with any application which has login for, like your Windows system, username password, your mobile username password, if you are only password, or your application ICICI Bank username password required, right? So any application or any operating system or any system which is required the combination of username password can be compromised, attacker can gain the access using brute force. Brute force software, there are some brute force software coming where it has the library of passwords or username, where you can keep single password username constant and try with multiple, because manually if you try, you may not gain the access, right? Manually, how many times you will try? It may require 50,000 attempt, different password, right, to gain the access. So attacker may use brute force software to try with multiple passwords. Brute software can even try 20,000 times within a minute. 20,000 attempt of login within a minute also, right? Maybe one of the password will have. That is the reason it is advised to keep the strong password, because might be the password you're using very easy password, right? And brute software is already having its library. And brute force and resulting successfully attacker will gain the access. That's the reason you should keep the strong password, not your name @1234 or welcome @1234, Google @1234. These are already part of compromise passwords. So these are very critical to keep strong password. Like nowadays, it is advised, right, to keep at least 8 digit, and it should be a combination of alphanumeric and special character, so that the password will be complex. So that is the reason these applications, critical applications, if you try 3 times as per the WAF, so if you try 3-4 times, then you will start getting the captcha. You will start getting the captcha that you to identify that you are not robot. What do you mean by that? You get right. Sometimes some application 2-3 times. If you do the full login, means you are not writing right credential. You'll get the captcha. Understand captcha, right? So what is the use of captcha? Why captcha is being? You know why captcha? Generally unnecessary overhead हो जाता है captcha enter करना. कभी आपने enter किया, अरे wrong captcha, again not able to headache. but it is for your account security. It is for you only to secure your account. But how it is securing the account? Have you ever thought about it? How the captcha is securing your account?
Against the brute force attacks.
How?
It's verifying whether it's a script or human.
Log, enter.
Because robot can't read the image because the text given in the captcha is mostly on the images, not on the text.
That's correct. See what happens. See what happens if you try multiple times, right? Username and password. 1 minute. If you try use same username, multiple password, 2, 3 times, 4 times, right? It failed. Application may thought that maybe it's an attacker having installed some script, right? Has installed and trying the username, multiple username, password, this one, right? In that case, to identify that multiple failed login, whatever login is being done by, it's the actual user, not an attacker, right? That is the reason it is giving a captcha, because by considering that a script cannot read the captcha. Yes or no? And resulting wrong captcha file login, however, successful login cannot happen because a script cannot read the captcha. Human can read the captcha. So if you are human, then enter the captcha. When not human, then a script, then login will get failed. Sometimes it is hidden. Enter the captcha to verify you are not robot. You are human. You might have seen this, right? Verify that you are human. Captcha is written and below that you verify that you are human. Means you are not a script, you are not a brute force software. Captcha. So what happens is previously when the first time captcha introduced, they have the text written on the web page. Text written like A, B, C, D, like that. Attackers are very intelligent. They made a tool which can even read the captcha also, which is written in a text format. Written the captcha and they can read and they can do the brute force. Then cybersecurity people also doing some R&D and checking out, right? Then they started giving text on the image. One image will be there on which it is written text. It's not a normal text. It's an image on which text are written. Now, as of now, this kind of image also there are some software which can read the text in the images also. Even images inserted, right, and text it can be brute force, can be read by the script. Nowadays, what happens? Latest one, which is complex. When you enter and when you see that captcha, right, it is very difficult for you also sometimes. You may have to try 2, 3 times. So what is that nowadays? New trend?
Traffic light, cars.
Images.
Images.
You will have 5, 6 images. You have to select on which images you have cars. Somewhere small cars, different cars, right? Sometimes traffic signal, sometimes firefighters. Yes or no? So even for human also it is difficult to identify sometimes. Sometimes being human also, where is the car or with the road cross, right? Sometimes difficult, right? So this is very, very difficult to crack. That is the reason you have. So these all captchas, when you enter multiple password, is coming through application firewall. For critical application, you have the application firewall for application security. So the brute force attempt also can be safeguarded by the web application firewall. The captcha is also coming from web application firewall. And even for the critical application, you should have web application firewall to check what exactly there on the data packet, what command the attacker is running. Yes or no? Because once you accept the application, www.facebook.com, you gain the access, right? That means firewall has allowed it. Now, whatever activity you do, firewall will definitely allow because same source, same destination, same port. Firewall will not do anything. Yes or no? Now it depends on everything. What will change is data part. Every time, what will change is data part. And data part will now be monitored by the web application firewall. So application firewall work on the layer number 5, 6, and 7. That means application layer. Yes or no? Application layer. It has the visibility of data part. What data is being forwarded and received. इसको पूरा बंद कर लो एक बार और. Will be regulated by the web application firewall. These are some of the vendors for web application firewall, right? In the company where you'll see some of the application, critical application, you'll see the web application firewall. Right? See, these applications we are discussing, right? These devices, because in the SOC, once you start, you should have knowledge of these. You are not going to work directly on these devices, but you should have knowledge because the investigation, the analysis that you are going to do, based on these devices activities, logs. I will tell you what is logs. Whatever activity is happening on those devices, they record in the form of logs, event. Those events you are going to analyze to understand what kind of activity happening across your network. And based on that, you take the action, or you ask someone to take the action on behalf of you. Because incident response, that is very important. The router, switches, firewall, DNS, DHCP, all the devices going to be integrated are going to send the logs, the activities log you are seeing. And based on that, you monitor. That's the reason you are having basic understanding. Because if you don't have understanding those devices, you cannot work on the SOC. Some basic understanding you should be having, right? That is the reason we are having brief understanding, not deep dive is not required. Okay, got it? So,
Sir,
yes, go ahead.
So I just have a small doubt. Since a packet data in a packet is encrypted, so
Right.
how the web application firewall understands whether it is a malicious content or not?
Web application firewall is having access on 567 data on a 567 on layer 567. That means session on a and presentation layer also. Never mind. So it has the session layer, presentation layer, as well as application layer of access data packet.
Small doubt.
We'll take a break. Yes, go ahead.
Suppose any like web-based attack like cross-site scripting or SQL injection attack, it bypass the WAF. Suppose it bypass the WAF and it execute in the database.
Okay.
So as a SOC engineer, what action we need to take?
It's a successful attack, right? Successful attack.
Yes, and
first of all, you have to block the IP address. First of all, you have to block the IP address. Then you have to do the further investigation. What exactly happened?
So
you have to learn what is cross-site scripting first, right? Then what action has to be taken that you have to investigate it. First of all, any attack happens, first of all, block that attack immediately, right? By blocking the IP address on which the attack is happening.
So we need to do any scan on database?
So
check any malicious activities are executed or not successfully.
That in database means you cannot do that. Being a security team, you don't have knowledge of databases, right? That has to be investigated by the database team. If any manipulation, any kind of modification has been done on database. Being a security team, neither you access the database, neither you will have access to the database, nor you will understand.
Yes, exactly. Because in that scenario, I will forward in my company. I used to forward incident to IR team, so they will look into it.
Correct.
So I want to know more about if successfully execute what action we to take.
That is not in our hand. You will not have access to it.
Yeah.
So you cannot do anything from your end. Okay. Let us break for 20 minutes. It is 10:50 right now. We'll connect on 11:10. Okay, 20 minutes break.
Sir?
Yes, go ahead.
All attacks are web-based attacks, or any other different attacks are there, sir? Or only?
There is different kinds of cross-site scripting. These are web attack, but there are other malware attack, right? Ransomware attack, DDoS attack.
But WAF is only used for web-based
application. You understand?
Voice is not with, sir, voice is not. No audio, sir.
Just one minute.
Okay, sir.
Now it is audible, right? Web
Yes,
name
sir. Yes, sir.
Web name itself suggests, right? It's the web application. That means it's only for web application. Any application which you access through web browser, right? For that security, we use web application firewall, right? Now we talk about whatever connection coming in, right? Any connection coming in and going out, definitely it will go through the firewall. Either it's normal communication or web application communication, right? You understand? Firewall is on gateway, so every communication will happen through firewall. Okay, firewall is behind the gateway. Usually you will see, but every communication will happen through firewall only. Web application firewall is only for web applications, right? Means normal traffic are coming in, going out will not go through the web application firewall. Yes or no? Web application firewall is separate only for web application firewall. You have something here, web application DMZ zone, web application firewall. For that you have web application firewall. Normal traffic is coming in, going out, normal communication with your servers and all will happen, or system and all will happen, will go through firewall. So normal traffic also, a PCI or normal traffic communication, whatever communication will happen, will definitely go through the network security firewall which is there in the network. Yes or no? We are having only for web application firewall. For example, now you understand, right? Attackers are very intelligent. Attackers are very intelligent. They find new ways to penetrate the network to gain the access or to execute their objective, to achieve their objective, right? For example, attacker nowadays, for example, this is the IP of the attacker 199.0.2.100. Now, what attacker has sent is, attacker send an email, not through website. If an email will not go through the web application firewall, right? Because web is for web applications. So no, so attacker send an email. Again, email means packet only, right? It has the header and data where the email is sent, right? For example, this user, the email is being sent, right? So some of the IP address is there. So the email is being sent. When the email will reach out to the to the router will open up the header part and read what is the source IP, what is the destination IP. Based on that, it will route the traffic, right? Now packet will hit to the firewall. Firewall will check the source IP. Source IP is this particular IP address. Source IP is not blacklisted IP address. It seems to be legitimate, not blacklisted on the ACL of the firewall, right? So based on source IP, and then it will check destination IP. Destination IP is the company IP address, right? Mail server IP address, company's mail server IP address. So, and destination port number is 25. And 25 port number is allowed for everyone. If IP address is not blacklisted, everybody should be able to send an email to your company. Yes or no? Destination port number is 25. Means anybody from outside, if IP address is not blacklisted, should be able to send an email. Yes or no? That means everybody should be allowed to send email to the company email, right? Get in mind? So this firewall will only have the access to header, and that is source IP, destination IP, destination port. Source port, you understand, can be anything more than 1024. So any device do not filter any traffic based on source port. Because source port can be anything. It filter based on the destination port. And destination port here, when you send an email, what will be the destination port for email?
25.
For email?
25.
25.
And you understand, any company, every country will allow the email. And that means any traffic coming on port number 25 will be allowed by your company. If in case the IP address is not blacklisted, if IP address is blacklisted, maybe firewall will be denied. But attacker is using new IP address and destination it is going on port number 25 and resulting firewall allow, and attacker has attached a malware attachment, means data packet contain a malware, right? But IP address was not blacklisted and communication on port number 25 and resulting traffic has been successfully allowed. And resulting what happens is mail has been delivered to one of the user and user end up opening an email. Yes or no? And downloaded the attachment and open it, right? These emails generally call as phishing emails. Phishing emails will look like legitimate email, right? And it will have maybe some link, phishing link, where you may end up entering some critical information, some credentials, or it might have an attachment where once you open it, malware will get installed. These emails are generally we call as phishing emails. Phishing emails looks like legitimate email. It may have some links or some attachment. Yes or no? Once you open this link, it may ask you to enter some sensitive, some critical information like credentials, like a company proprietary information, or it may have some attachment. Once you open the attachment, it was actually a malware, right? It's a program. Malware means malicious software. Malware means it's software, right? Malicious, where half from half from software, half from malware, half from software, right? Because malware, malicious, half from malicious and half from software. The combination of both you call as malware. Malware is nothing but the malicious software. What will happen is once the user will open the attachment, right? Malware will get installed in your system. Yes or no? So once malware gets installed in your system, it can do multiple things. If it is a virus, it may try to copy itself. It may occupy it just to stop, just to overutilize the resources. It may copy itself and higher CPU, higher memory utilization. It may be a ransomware. There are several types of malware. Ransomware can encrypt your system. All the files in the system can be encrypted. You can't use anymore, and it will ask the money. Attacker will ask money to decrypt those. It can be a Trojan, which can create the backdoor. Means you get it is a Trojan, and Trojan will get installed on your system, and it will create the backdoor. That means it give that command and control. Means it's control of the system to attacker command and control server. Now attacker can control this machine. There are multiple types of the malware that you have. Very important video that you have to watch in my YouTube channel. What is malware? You can write as a homework. What is malware? What is malware? What are the different type of malwares? And what action we should take if any machine in your system is infected with malware, right? What action we should take? That all things I have explained you in my video, YouTube video, right? Go on the channel and search about the malware. You can check on the videos and you'll get a malware video, right? So very important from interview perspective. You must watch that particular video, right? I'm just giving brief information here about the malware. So what will happen is now we'll end up opening that malware, right? You do not know. This phishing email will look like legitimate email. Means generally the attacker will be in a hurry. You and you will feel like it's legitimate. You may have like you in Gmail you're writing, you have got the job offer from Tata Communication. Job offer. It's an attachment. Once you open it, it will get infected. Get I mean? Or your email will come. Your IT administrator wants you to reset your password. Reset the password within 1 hour. Otherwise, you'll never network access will be disabled. Like you will see this kind of word. It will be in a hurry. It will force you to take the action immediately. Those phishing kind of emails, right? So, maybe you get an email that you IT administrator. The email will look like itadministrator@accenture.com. The email look also like legitimate. Email look like it came from Accenture. It came from a manager. Get I mean? You'll see Accenture.com. Maybe one spelling is missing. That is called a phishing email. In phishing email, maybe one spelling is missing. Accenture, double C, maybe one C. Will look like in hurry people do not see much, right? Because they have the habit of seeing the same thing. Accenture email came. IT administrator. IT administrator wants you to reset your email, reset your network email, network username and password. To reset your password, right? Otherwise, your access will be disabled in 1 hour. My password is going to expire. You get a link to reset the password. Once you click on the link, right? That is actually, that link is actually not from your company. It's a phishing link from the attacker. Once you enter the link, it will ask you to enter your username, enter your current password and new password. Once you click on OK, the detail will be submitted on the attack to the attacker. Your current password and current username will be submitted, right? And resulting attacker can use it to log in. Attacker can use to log in, right? This is something you call as, this is something that you have given yourself through phishing attack, right? Attacker need not to do the brute force in this case. Attack directly got your credentials. Right? That is this kind of attack called a phishing attack. Phishing email. This kind of email is called a phishing email. Some email you will have attachment where once you install, right, you got a job offer. Like last month, I got an email saying that there, Sulabh, your monthly health report is ready now. Download attachment. Download the attachment. Download the Excel report, monthly health report. Now, before opening such email, you should think that, are you expecting that particular email? Unnecessarily emails, you should not open which are not coming from the verified authenticated sources, right? I know that it must be a malware, right? Once I see that email, I said I have not taken any health related report, and I think how that is, it's an Excel kind of file, right? Once I downloaded that file, once you download it, nothing will happen unless you open it. Okay, you have to open that file. So once you download it and upload in VirusTotal, I came to this is malware. This was the malware that we have downloaded. Many of the antivirus has captured as malware. So that is what will happen, right? Email will look like legitimate, and you open that email, malware will be installed, and will try to connect outside. Yes or no? So that is the reason. So in this case, you know, right? If you have the firewall, if it is coming from the legitimate ID, means I will not blacklisted. Email will get successfully delivered. Your employee may end up opening that email. One moment. Employees may end up opening that email, and once employee open that email, maybe attachment or the link, you understand what will happen? Our system will get encrypted, or it may create the backdoor and give the control to attacker, or it may do the crypto mining malware, cryptocurrency calculation attacker can do. In that case, for example, ransomware. In ransomware, attacker do not steal any information. It just encrypt the data and ask for the ransom. Ransom call, kidnapping, and attacker has been called for the ransom call. Ransom means asking for the money. That's again this kind of attack we call ransomware. You install, you open the file, it will encrypt, means it will block all your file. It will hide your, the file will not be able to open. You will not be able to open that file. This file will get encrypted. Encrypted means it will be encapsulated. You can't open that file. You need the unique key, decryption key to open it. Then it will leave one message, HTML message, saying that your file has been encrypted with 2048 encryption key. If you want to decrypt your file, get back to your file, then these are the account number on which you have to, you have to send money on bitcoins. Get I mean? So attacker will ask the money, that we call as ransomware. After compromising system, attacker will ask for the money, right? So attacker may, you may install this software, and it can be a malware, and it can be a Trojan which can create the backdoor, can give the attack, can attacker to gain the access, right? Attacker can do multiple things. If the system get encrypted, if the attacker got the access to this machine, right? Attacker may do the further brute force attack. Means attacker can try to compromise other machines. Yes or no? Attacker gain the access already, means attacker is already inside. Now attacker can further install more software like brute force software and take the remote access other machines by doing some combination of username and password, right? Installing brute force. Now it will keep the username same and try with multiple password and gain the access of this machine also, this machine also, this machine also. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. That we call as brute force attack. After compromising one system, it can do the Windows brute force. It can log into multiple Windows machine by doing a brute force, by installing some more softwares, right? This machine compromised, right? Some activity will happen. Even login user is not doing some activity, someone else is doing. Means activity is showing robotically, automatically, right? That one system, in fact, we call a bot. You have bot in your system. Bot means robotic. Bot is a short form of robotic. Robot, right? Means somebody is on side. You are accessing the system at the same time. Attacker is also logged in on your system using backdoor, right? And attacker is doing some activities. If you are not doing, someone else is doing, automatically means robot activity, right? That means system is in system, bot is there. In the system, bot has been installed, right? Now, once bot is installed, attacker will control machine, attacker will try to create the botnet. Botnet is nothing but the group or network of compromised computer, we call it botnet. Right? So once attacker compromise machine, it will do the brute force and try to gain the access of multiple machines. Let's say, for example, 10, 15 computers has been compromised and attacker gain the access. Right? The group of compromised computer we call as botnet. What is botnet? If you write, you can write it. What is botnet? What is botnet? What is botnet? So botnet is the group. Botnet is the group or network of compromised computers. Botnet is the group or network of compromised computers. Botnet is the group or network of compromised computers. You understand, right? How attacker will try to get, how attacker will be creating the botnet. One system he'll gain the access, right? He may install brute force software, and he will enter the username and password of other system, right? And try with multiple combinations of username and password and gain the access, right? If gain the access more than 1 or 2 computer, multiple computer we call as botnet. Those computers also compromised. So network or group of compromised computer we call as botnet. Yes or no? 23 थी ना? Understand? Create the botnet. You know further, what is the use of botnet? Now attacker will gain the access to all machine, right? Now attacker can utilize those system to launch an attack to other company, because attacker never use their own system to launch an attack. Attacker use the compromised computer to launch attack, especially the DDoS attack. DDoS attack is a denial of service, distributed denial of service. DDoS is a type of attack we call it distributed denial of services.
Group of compromised computers.
What do you call it? DDoS. DDoS stands for distributed denial of service.
Distributed denial of service.
Distributed denial of services, right? So distributed denial of services is one of the biggest attack. Still, you will see many companies. You will see DDoS. Usually, you will see DDoS attack in this company. DDoS attack in this company, right? DDoS attack stands for distributed denial of services. In kind of DDoS attack, attacks actually the use the botnet. Means what will happen is in DDoS attack, I'm just giving the brief. You have my video for DDoS, right? Like the homework. Write the homework. What is DDoS? What is DDoS and what action we have to take in case our company is impacted with the DDoS. Very detailed video I have in YouTube. DDoS attack. What is DDoS attack and what action we should take if our company is impacted with the DDoS attack? What action we should take? For it. So, you know, I'm just giving you the brief knowledge here for now. But detailed video you will see on YouTube is a 25-minute video on it. I have explained you in detail about DDoS. In DDoS, you know, what will happen? In DDoS generally generally it will happen in web applications. Well, because on web application only you have direct access. Yes or no? Internal application you don't have direct access by outside people, right? Only web application you have direct access. So DDoS attack will happen generally in web application. For example, this is SIEM XPERT. SIEM XPERT, right? SIEM XPERT website, for example, and another website is SOC XPERT. SOC XPERT, for example. Now, recently, for example, both are the same domain companies, right? Both are competitor of each other. So, in case, for example, recently people got graduated, right? It's a July-August month. Now people will look for the trainings. Just an example I have taken. So now, not this example actually. Let me take the example of Flipkart and Amazon. Because this DDoS is for short period of time, not for long period. The training registration time is lamba rahe, 4 din, 6 din, 8 din, 10 din rahega. But DDoS is for few hours. It may happen for few hours or maybe a day. So, for example, this is Amazon and this is Flipkart and this is Amazon, right? Now, Diwali time is going on, right? Diwali din hota hai Dhanteras or any Diwali time. People will buy the outfits and buy some other things during the Diwali time. Amazon, people are buying more use Amazon compared to Flipkart, right? They trust more on Amazon, for example, right? Now, Flipkart will say in Diwali, mostly on the day of Dhanteras, between 6 to 8, people buy more, right? So if Amazon is not available for that 2 hours, people will switch to Flipkart to buy it. Yes or no? Then Flipkart will not initiate an attack themselves. They will not initiate, right? In the market, you know, dark web website, dark web, all the attacking tools, all the attacking companies, people are available on dark web. In dark web, there is a service available, DDoS has service, malware has service, right? So if you want to compromise some other machine, you want to initiate attack, you don't know to initiate yourself. You can take it as a service. Get it? In dark web, DDoS as service is also available. So what will happen is the motive Flipkart is. Let go away. The motive of Flipkart is to ensure that to do that for 2 Arduino 628, this Amazon should not be accessible.
Hi sir.
Video disconnected.
Video
got disconnected, man.
Hold down. What message you got?
EOS webcam utility on.
Just a moment. I'll मेरे को वहां से कर देता हूँ उसको मैं. ये क्या ये एसी वाला प्लग है, तो एसी वाला इन्वर्टर से नहीं है ना ये प्लग. लाइट चली गई तो लेकिन यहाँ से हाथ पैर लगने के चांसेस रहेंगे यहाँ पे. Got it right? Nice working. So what I'm saying now, Amazon wants that, Flipkart wants that 2 hours. If 2 hours Amazon is down or not accepting new request, right? New sale request, then in that case people will switch to Flipkart, right? So Flipkart will do something to ensure that Amazon server should not be available to serve the users. In that case, people has to buy on that day. They will switch second most of the site is Flipkart. Reroute to Flipkart. Yes or no? So DDoS or DOS. DOS stands for denial of services and DDoS stands for distributed denial of service. So both are with same intention to ensure that particular web server or web application should not be available to serve the legitimate user. If application is not available, right? So in that case, we will switch to some other competitor or to give the business loss. Either maybe to switch the traffic to your application or to give some loss to the business loss to intended application, right? So in DDoS is being initiated using the botnet. DDoS. So what happens is there are before it was a DOS. Before it was a DOS, and later on a bit version is DDoS. In case of DOS, what will happen is in the system you can install DOS software. What DOS software will do it? It will send multiple flood of requests, flood of connection to targeted server, application server, right? Flood of request. For example, this particular application has the as of now throughput to accept around 10,000 connections per second, right? If this particular DDoS software send 10,000, 15,000 connections per second, what will happen? Its resources will get overutilized. Yes or no? Bandwidth will get overutilized, as well as at the same time, if new people are connected to the server will say the server is not available right now, please try again later. Yes or no? That means new people who are actually accessing the Amazon, they will not be able to access Amazon. Yes or no? Server will not be reachable, or it will not be able to take any new request. Server is already overutilized, and there might be possible that because of overutilized, server may get down also. Yes or no? Means new user definitely cannot connect. Yes or no? If there is a flood of connections coming in and hitting to the application server. And that is the intention of having DOS or DDoS. Now, DOS can be easily blocked. When in the firewall issue, from particular IP only, flow of connections are coming, you can block it in a firewall and DOS will get stopped. Yes or no? That's the reason you will not see DOS anymore. Where one IP is initiating flood of connections, one IP can easily block on the firewall. Identify and block on the firewall. Nowadays, attackers are very smart. They will initiate DDoS. DDoS will distribute denial of service. Now it is one system. Now it will start from distributed system. Means multiple systems. Yes or no? And distributed denial services will be initiated from botnet. Using botnet means group of compromised computer. For example, this particular company, 10 computer has been compromised. Botnet. Some other company in India, Australia, South Africa, Singapore, multiple geolocation, multiple system, attacker will try and target one particular application. Now you have connection coming of Singapore, Australia, South Africa, India, right? Multiple system targeting the same server. Now it is difficult for you to identify which connection is legitimate and which connections are coming from attacker system. Got in mind? This attack is called a distributed attack, distributed denial of service, right? So this I have explained you in detail how we can stop DDoS, right? What you should do in case your company is impacted in being DDoS, what action you can take. But you understand, right? Attacker will create the botnet by infecting multi-cloud computers. Attacker never initiate any kind of attack from their own system. Got in mind? So this kind of attack we call as DDoS or DOS or DDoS. Right? In detail, TCP half-one connection, UDF flood, right? What are different type of DDoS method that I will also explain you on the video. Understand? Any confusion? So you understand particular system, how secure is the email when you receive the phishing email, right? This malware email, how secure it is. In case you have firewall just check the IP address and port number is 25, it will allow on port number, right? That means even though we have the firewall, a WAF will not come in the picture because WAF is only for application traffic. You can say even you have WAF, even you have firewall, still our network is not secure. There might be chances the legitimate IP address, send an email on port number 25, or you receive the email, you receive your information, get put some critical information on the link, or can download the attachment and system get compromised, attacker can get the backdoor. Right? That means even though we have the firewall, WAF, still our network is not fully secure. Still our network is prone to be compromised. Then in that case, we should implement certain control which can regulate email, right? What is phishing email? If malware email should block it, right? So which can regulate inbound, outbound emails, right? We should have some control. Except firewall, we should have some more device which can actually regulate emails, email traffic.
Email gateway.
Yes or no? That we call as that device.
SMTP gateway.
Email gateway, right? So now we have to introduce one more device called as email gateway. Guys, I have shared you the link, right, from previous batch video. So in case you want to revise it, you can watch those videos. All basic videos are available on YouTube. I made it live for previous class. So you can watch those videos, revise it. These are basic topics. What level of knowledge is required from your perspective, workforce solution SOC, that level I'm going to cover, not very deep. Because you already have firewall, right? So now, in this case, you have to implement one more device that you call as email gateway. Email gateway. So how email gateway will? So email gateway can be a software device or hardware, right? Some of the famous email gateways are, what are those? Anybody knows famous email gateway?
Cisco Iron Port.
Cisco Iron Port, Proofpoint,
Barracuda.
Exchange Online Protection, EOP.
Scan port and Proofpoint, very famous. Proofpoint email gateway. You will have Blue Coat also, Blue Coat ESA, email security appliance. Blue Coat ESA means email
Mimecast.
Barracuda.
Barracuda also, yeah. That one also you have, right? So these are some of the famous vendor of email gateway, right? That you will have in a company. Almost company will have the email gateway. The firewall is very basic, standard security appliance. Every company will have. Email gateway also almost every company will be having email gateway to secure your regulate your emails, right? Means malicious emails, malware emails, right? Should not be coming. So what will happen is it regulate inbound email also, outbound emails also, right? Because you know what happens? Inbound means malicious emails, malware emails, it will come in your network. This email gateway can regulate it, right? As well as internal user can also send some critical information outside, some proprietary information that should not go outside. That also can be monitored by the email gateway. Get it? So email gateway regulate inbound email as well as outbound email as well. Got it, fine? So how email work? For example, you have taken the email, you bought the email gateway from the Cisco. It's a Cisco iron port email gateway, right? So once you bought the email gateway from Cisco, it will connect to the Cisco cloud. Yes or no? Cisco cloud. It will connect to the Cisco cloud. Now again, email gateway have the ACL. ACL, right? And ACL again dynamic and static. So what data will be added on the ACL is the category of the emails. Category of the emails, right? Category of the emails will be added on the ACL, right? On dynamic ACL. So what happens is reputation of email, not category, reputation of emails. Email ID which have been involved in malware category, right? So here is category information, malware, for example, malware, phishing, spoofing category, spoof, yes or no, spam. These are different categories of email, right? Cisco R&D team will check which all email ID or domain are involved in malware related emails, phishing related email, spoof related email, spam related emails. You know what I'm saying? So they will collect the list of this and they will add the list of malware category, malware related, phishing category, spoofing category, spam category. Dynamic mein, in dynamic list. These are the category. These are the category. So any email comes, they will check either domain or email ID belongs to any of this category. For example, particular email belongs to malware category. Then it will block the email under the malware category. Email will be blocked by the gateway, and you can see it. One email has been blocked under malware category. If you want to open, you can open it also. Everyone, it will block. It will not be delivered. If any email is coming under belongs to spam or phishing, it will block under phishing. It will block under spam category. It will not reach to the user. Email आपके Gmail पे आ जाते हैं spam category पे, है ना? But here it will not reach to the end user. It will be blocked by the email gateway itself. Get it? So these categories, so this email gateway is specific for emails only. R&D team, research team will do the research, but the domain and email ID belongs to any species of the either malware category, phishing category, spam category, or spoof category. They will block the email on the specific category. If the email or domain do not belong to this category, right? Do not belong to that category and having attachment. Even the email does not belong to this, but this email gateway also have the antivirus. May possible that email do not belong to any of this category, but having malware attachment, phishing attachment, right? Phishing email, malware attachment, so it will scan with the antivirus. The attachment will get scanned with the antivirus. If it having virus, then it will block with the specific category. Sometimes you will see email has been delivered, but attachment has been dropped. If email is a specific source, is legitimate source, but having malware attachment, the attachment will get dropped and email will get delivered. Sometimes it happens, right? So it may, if it belongs to attachment is there is antivirus which will scan the attachment for any malware and viruses. Okay? Apart from this category. Understand?
Sir, two doubts I have.
Yes.
Okay. So how we get to know suppose user is compromised? And second, suppose user is compromised, so what are the steps we need to take?
First of all, you ask the question from email gateway perspective. That is a different question. That is not related to this. In later part, you will understand how the email compromise. You have to ask the question from email gateway report now. That is different question, not belongs to this topic. There are multiple, we'll discuss on the later part. There are multiple ways where you can check it out if any user or machine get compromised. Okay, but you have any question on this right now?
Sir, one question, sir. So email gateway also there and ACL also there and it is blocking. Okay, but still the end users are sometimes will be getting the mail, right? Attacker's email. How it is possible, sir?
Camera क्या हुआ? Camera चला गया? हाँ? अरे कैमरा कैसे आ गया ये इसमें?
Camera again problem.
I just hold on. See, that is the reason your system is getting compromised, right? See, big companies compromised because these all are signature predefined information. There might be scenario where email has been delivered, email has been changed, but do not belong to any category. Attachment also does not have signature. Attachment also not identifies as a malware, resulting email will get delivered. That is the reason I said 100% security is not achievable. Even you have implemented all security rules, still you can't say that you are 100% secure, because there must be chances, because all devices work on based on signatures, predefined information. If you don't know, attacker initiates something in first time, no device has the signature. That is called a 0-day attack. That is something called a 0-day attack, means today only. Some malware has been created on it, delivered today only. That is called a 0-day attack, where none of the devices are having signature to detect it. Called a 0. Your firewall failed, your antivirus failed, your email gateway failed, proxy failed, all the device failed. So it's a 0-day attack for your network. Yes or no? What is 0-day attack? You can write it. What is 0-day attack? 0. Z-E-R-O.
It's not publicly known to anyone.
0-day attack. So 0-day attack is an attack when none of your devices in the network, when none of the devices in your network having signature to detect it. When none of the devices in your network are having signature to detect it. 0-day attack is an attack when none of your devices on the network are having signature. None of your security devices in the network. None of your security devices in the network are having signature to detect it. Is called as 0-day attack.
Sir,
Yeah, go ahead.
So like firewall, email gateway is a hardware as well as a software.
It can be hardware.
Device.
It can be hardware or software, coming on both form.
Sir, what is the difference between email gateway and SMTP?
Email gateway and
difference between email gateway and SMTP, simple mail transfer protocol.
SMTP, it's a protocol, right?
Yeah.
A protocol which brings the emails. It's an application. It's an application like SMTP or Outlook work on SMTP protocol, right? So it's an email application layer of protocol that is called email. It's a protocol. Email gateway is the filtering device. SMTP the protocol. Application layer. Outlook work on the SMTP protocol, right? SMTP, right? Means we can receive, which can show you the emails. Email work on the SMTP port number 25, right? So whatever application can see the email because work on the SMTP protocol. It's an application protocol. Yes. Got it, right? So you understand what I'm saying here? 0-day attack you written, that is called a 0-day attack, right? When none of your, and there will be chances. When attack happens, mostly attack are 0-day attack. Means none of your, even you have all the devices, but none of the devices has the nature detected and resulting successfully compromise will happen. That is called as 0-day attack. Bigger company, biggest companies are being compromised with 0-day attack, right? Means none of the devices are having signature. 0-day attack, right? So email gateway having this kind of categories. So the cloud vendor from which you have bought this email gateway will be updating the respective list on the respective category. When email comes belong to this category, it will block it. If do not belong to any category having attachment, then antivirus inbuilt 1 or 2, minimum 2 antivirus engine email gateway is having. So it will scan the attachment. If attachment is also having some virus, it will block the email, right? With the respective category. Rest all the email gateway will be delivered. Get in mind? But there are chances of false positive activity. May be possible that particular email your client has sent, but this email ID has been flagged as a phishing category, right? Or malware category, spam category, and has been blocked on the email gateway. Yes or no? There might be chances, there will be chances, there are so many chances, right? That because email gateway is a device, not a human, right? Sometimes false positively, that means email actually legitimate email, but false positively email gateway sends that it's a phishing email and has been blocked. In that case, business will get impacted, right? See, winning the war, securing the network does not.
उदय राव तिथे हर्षू नंतर माझं 12 वाजता संपल्यावर मग.
अरे ये कौन है भाई? Who is not in mute? ये नेहा. Please mute your mic next time. See, winning the war does not make any sense if most of the people died. Yes or no? You won the war, but most of the people died, right? What मेघनाथ नहीं, वो महाभारत में कौन था? महाभारत में है शकुनी नहीं यार, शकुनी का भांजा कौन था? हाँ, दुर्योधन. When somebody said right to Duryodhan that still you can you can talk for peace. He said, what I will do, to whom I will rule, if most of the people have been died already, right? So winning the war does not make any sense if most of your public has been died. Securing the network also does not make any sense if your business is being impacted, if continuity is being impacted, if business is being blocked, emails or business is not being communicated on the right time, it's being blocked, it's being stopped, right? You secure the network but business communication is not happening properly, does not make any sense, right? And that is not called as cyber security. Cyber security means meeting the CIA. You know, cyber security means CIA. Being a cyber security team, we have to maintain CIA. Anybody know CIA triage?
Confidentiality, integrity, and availability.
Authorization.
Huh?
Authorization.
Authorization is wrong. Not authorization. Confidentiality, integrity,
And availability.
Availability.
Right. Means we have to ensure the data which is private, which is confidential, should remain confidential, should only be accessible for authorized people, right? And that is cyber security. Being a cyber security team, we have to ensure the confidentiality of data. But data should not be revealed for unauthorized people. Yes or no? Should only have access to authorized people only, not to everybody else. That is called as confidentiality. Data should be private. Again, next is integrity. Integrity means data should be intact. Data should not be modified and should be always available on the original format. Nobody would be able to, unauthorized people should not be able to modify the data. The data should be intact, means should be on original format. No manipulation should happen, right? That is called integrity. Being cyber security team, we have to maintain the integrity of the data. Unauthorized people cannot make the unauthorized changes on the data. Data should be always on the real format, original format. Correct? That is called. Who is this? Please do not interrupt me. Yeah, when I'm speaking, do not interrupt me. Let me complete, then on you speak. I told right. Rabani, say please from your end. You are not muting yourself. Next time I want if I drop you in the meeting. Okay. If you're not listening to the class, you're not listening to the class. Let me drop him. Unnecessarily, if you're not listening, it does not make any sense, right? Still, he's not listening. Put him in the meeting room, waiting room. Guys, please make sure that I take a pause right here. I give the enough chance for you to ask the question. Do not stop in between. I'm speaking and continuously you're asking, sir. It is not fair, right? It's not good. When I'm speaking, let me complete first. Then you ask the question. You have enough time. I give you enough time to ask the question. So let me complete this. Then you ask the question. अभी तो I पढ़ रहा है ना, मैं तो complete कर रहा हूँ ना, complete कर रहा हूँ हाँ. C means confidentiality. The data should be confidential, private, should not be accessed by unauthorized people. That is called confidentiality. Integrity means data should be intact. Means should not be modified, should not be manipulated by unauthorized people, right? That is again a responsibility of cyber security team. Another is availability, right? Availability means required resources should be always available for the legitimate user, for the authorized user. That is called availability. So here availability, see here availability is being impacted. The respective data is not available, right? This person is sending email, it is not available for the end users. Business being impacted. That means your availability is being impacted. If you have any application, people are not able to access, availability is being impacted, right? So you should not breach this. You have to save this, right? But you are securing the network, security you are making, right? But your you are compromising with availability because emails are getting blocked. So we have to ensure that network should be secure, but as well as we have to maintain the CIA. Right? Yes. Now you can ask the question.
Sir, in email gateway, you mentioned that like Cisco Cloud, for example, will categorize the emails whether it is malware or phishing, right?
Right.
So, like, will these emails be delivered to the end users?
No.
Or you mentioned that
email gateway. Once it is blocked, it will block the email gateway.
because you mentioned somewhere in middle that it can be opened by the user. What is that case?
No. I said before email gateway. If email gateway you don't have, mail will get delivered. Right? In that case, you will open and system will compromise. That is the reason we have implemented email gateway here.
Okay, it won't get delivered to the end user. Okay, got it.
It won't get delivered. If your device identifies some email, it won't get delivered to the user. It will be blocked by the email.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
I have a question, sir.
Yes.
When you say email gateway affects the availability, right? CIA availability, is that right? Or
right?
So why didn't we implement email gateway in this case?
I'm giving the
how can we
answer for that. I'm giving the answer for that. So for that, to ensure that sometimes legitimate emails also can be flagged as phishing and can be blocked it here, right? Here availability is being impacted. So when you implement email gateway, you will have dedicated set of people. Maybe email gateway is the part of SOC team. Sometimes in the company, you'll have dedicated set of people who will be monitoring this email gateway. Get them and check what email has been blocked. And they will review the email. Those are legitimate email or phishing email or malicious email. If it is malicious email, they will delete it. Or if it is legitimate email, they will release it. Right? Or if they are not sure sometime, they may ask end user by sending email that we have received from this particular user ID, we have received this email and subject line and this is one. Please let us know if you're expecting this particular email. So we can release it. Getting it? Sometime what will happen is when particular user send an email, it will block by the email gateway and end user also receive the email from an email gateway saying that from this particular USB subject line, you have received an email, but it has been blocked by the email gateway. If you think that this email is legitimate, kindly contact Security Operations Center or whatever the number of email ID is given. They can send an email to SOC team saying that I have received this particular email from this particular email ID, but it has been blocked. Kindly release that email. Get it? So email gateway team will monitor. My voice is audible, right?
Hello.
My voice is audible,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yes, sir. Actually,
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, actually, Neeraj sir, this side. Actually, sir, your voice is not coming properly. Actually, I'm unable to listen properly, sir.
Is it for everyone? Voice is not proper?
It's clear, sir.
It's clear. It's clear. It's very clear. It's audible.
It's clear, sir.
Maybe problem from your speaker side then, not from my end. If it is problem with everyone, that means from my end. If only for speaking people, means from your end. Problem is from your end.
It is very high.
Speed, okay. And with time, because sports are going on, so I'll try to be slow now. So what I'm saying is, okay. So you rewatch this video again, okay, on the YouTube that I have given you. So maybe today.
Actually, sir, I have seen your video on YouTube. That video was very clear, sir. But here your voice is not coming clear, sir.
My voice is clear actually. Maybe your speaker has the problem. Other people are able to access. So we'll wind up the day for today. Let me cover this email gateway because once I cover 4th hour is going on, right? Maybe sometime voice is faster. In the 4th hour, when you are
last question, sir.
When you're lagging with the energy, that time maybe voice is little fast. But that is what I'm telling you. You rewatch this video. These are just basic topics, so I try to cover it first. But next time we'll be slowing. We'll take it slowly. Okay. So you rewatch this video on YouTube again. Yes, go ahead.
Sir, as soon.
Sir,
Please
I
upload
see.
this today's video, sir.
Today's video, it is available already on YouTube. It's already available on YouTube. That link I have shared, right? All 7 days videos are already available. Yes, question?
Sir, I see the firewall team also doing major activities like we do, right? SOC analyst. So what is the difference between firewall and our duties, sir?
Firewall is handling a network security device like the proxy, your IPS IDs, your IPS ID proxy, and also a firewall, right? Those things we call network security devices. Network security device, right? Data security device we call as cyber security, like SIM working on SIM, EDR, XDR, right? Those will call us SOC team. So email gateway also may be handled by SOC team. So that is what I said, that sometimes it is possible that legitimate emails are coming, right? It will block false positively on this category and email has been blocked, right? So you'll have dedicated security team who will be monitoring those emails and will be reviewing if those emails are legitimate email, and then in that case they will be reading that email, right? So that so continuously they will be reviewing, 24/7 they will be reviewing the email, right? So that it's not happen that email has been blocked and after 1 or 2 or 5 hours be released, right? They should monitor and they should release it after reviewing it. If they have any question, they can check with the receiver that we have seen that you have received this particular email on this particular email ID is being blocked because of this spam category or phishing category. Let us know if you are intended to receive this email from particular user having this particular attachment, having this particular subject line. If we say yes, we can release it. If we say no, then we can delete the email. This is for inbound activity. Similarly, for outbound also, what email? So email gateway can make the outbound policy also we can make, right? Any emails being sent to phishing email ID, destination phishing email ID, spam email ID, it will block by default on those categories. As well as we can also create a policy if anybody is sending the email to public email such as Gmail, Hotmail, right? Those emails should be always also blocked. Any emails are having encrypted files, where encrypted file means password protected. Antivirus may not be able to scan those files, right? Either inbound or outbound. In that case, also email gateway will block those files. Then we have to verify with the user what kind of files you are sending. Or in case user is sending email to his Gmail ID, we can verify that you are saying that you are sending email to particular Gmail ID. What is the business requirement? Because particular destination ID is not company related email ID, it's a Gmail ID. Maybe some proprietary information that is sending outside. Yes or no? We can verify with the user what is the business requirement. We can mark his manager also and ask him what is the business requirement, why you are sending this email ID side having this particular attachment. So we have to always mark his manager when we are asking for justification, because maybe it's a business related email. So we do not know what information it is. His manager might be aware of that. So we are always marking his manager that we have seen. Hi, your name is Shubham. We have seen that you have seen particular email at particular time. We can attach we can download from email gateway. We can download the email and attach on the email that this particular email we have seen that you have sent to this particular destination email, your Gmail ID. Please let us know what is the business justification, why you are sending this email to your personal email ID or Gmail ID. Then his manager also marked, right? If we justify, his manager said okay or does not reply anything, we understand it's a business related and we can release in that case, right? Or in other case, his manager also marked. If manager understands it's critical, then he can flag it out and let us know that information should not go outside, right? In that case, there are rule called policy violations. If any data you are sending outside, see, as per the end user computing policies, right? The critical data, proprietary data, classified data should not go outside of the company, right? If anybody is sending such information, that's a violation of policies. So I was working for one of the company where we used to give policy violation also for user, depending on the criticality of the incident. Policy number one, policy violation number 2, and 3 is mean directly termination. Many of the cases we used to catch. We have seen one of the user who is the senior manager, one of the department, has sent company project information outside. They marked his manager identified his vice president was his manager. It's very critical information. And same day particular user have been terminated. He was senior manager working for the same company for the last 11 years. Same day, within a few hours, he has been terminated from the company. This is how critical are the cybersecurity incidents. One of the users from server team has sent more than 100 server licenses to his personal email ID.
It's a data leakage, right? It's called a data leakage, company data leakage, right? So, and resulting, he has also terminated. Some less critical document, if you see, maybe policy violation number 1. Again, you repeat violation number 2. Again, you repeat policy number 3 means termination, right? So these information means we can regulate, right? We can avoid the data leakage also here, the email gateway, right? We can create the policy, what kind of data should be sent, what kind of data should not be sent. If any email ID going to the personal email ID, right? We should monitor it, we will review it and ask for justification. Like ITR or payslip, all you can, that also will block because you are sending to personal email ID. But once the analyst will review it, he will release it. When we used to work on the email, we used to see people how much salary they are getting. Because it will stuck on the email gateway, right? And we have the option to open that attachment, right? Then we used to see how much salary particular person is getting because salary got stuck on the email gateway. So that is how we can regulate using the email gateway. Using the email gateway, we can regulate inbound and outbound both the emails. Emails coming from suspicious email ID or going towards suspicious email ID can be blocked by the email gateway. To avoid false positive blockage on the email gateway, we'll have analyst who will monitor, yes or no, whether email is legitimate or not. Will release it. If it is not legitimate phishing email, he will delete the email. Any email, if you're not taking any action, it is blocked. After a certain time, automatically it will get deleted. It is maybe 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. If you're not deleting, automatically in few days it will get deleted from the email gateway. It has certain retention period, how long it has to keep the emails, right? But the right process is we have to keep monitoring the email 24/7 to ensure that communication is not being stopped. So email related attacks we can regulate. You can detect using the email gateway. Okay. Anybody have any confusion? Any question?
Sir, one question. So whatever is being blocked in email gateway or firewall, so it is alert. It is generating any alert on SIEM or it's just writing on logs?
So later part, once we discuss about the SIEM, right? What will happen is all the activities being recorded by these tools, right, will be coming on the SIEM. We'll come to know particular email from particular user delivered to the particular user on this particular time, right? We'll get those information on the SIEM. We do not want to see what correction came and hit to the firewall. Everything will be recorded in the form of logs, and those logs will come on your SIEM. So in the SIEM, you will have visibility across all your network. What is coming, what is going, what is being blocked, what user, what accessing, what website he is accessing, how much time he has accessed. Every data you will have available in the SIEM. You don't need to look at each and every devices, what communication is happening. You'll have visibility all using the SIEM. So once we have an introduction of the SIEM, we'll understand everything.
Okay.
Hi, Mishra. This is Santosh.
Sulabh
Okay,
is my, yeah, you can call me Sulabh.
So, Sulabh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are a couple of questions from my side. Okay, since you have shown that email gateway is one section and the web app is WAF is one such gateway. Do you have the gateways for FTP or for the load balancers also? Like, do we still, the industry still maintains the separate gateway for the FTPs, file transfer protocol?
It will have route. See, FTP generally not allowed. First of all, FTPs are not allowed nowadays because FTP is being used for file transfer. The large file you can send using the FTP, but FTP is not allowed in many of the organizations because communication, the FTP is happening on clear text format. Means between source to destination, the channel is not encrypted. Means man in the middle can read the information, can steal the information. So nowadays, instead of FTP, you have SFTP, where the channel is encrypted. Get it?
Okay.
So gateway internet.
Do we have any such?
Internet is same only. You have to allow SFTP port number on the firewall to allow the traffic.
Any gateways for the SFTPs?
No gateway. Gateway is all router, all through router only.
Any specific gate? Because as we have seen it, right, for the email, we have a separate email gateway. Similarly, for that,
so FTP, no, it's not required for that. FTP is normal communication. FTP is normal communication using the port number 22. This is not something that everyone will use the FTP, right? So only a few people will use the FTP to transfer the protocol, right? So FTP generally access will not be given to everyone. Okay. In certain cases, you can transfer the file in the SFTP. Otherwise, anyone can send any kind of data. right? There are many things. Now we have regulated emails, right? Now next class will regulate the website access also. People cannot use Gmail, people cannot use social media, people cannot use Google Drive, people cannot use box.com to upload any data, because now we are regulating the outbound email also. That means we are regulating people should not able to forward critical information outside. So we should have certain controls, so that email related controls we have done as of now, but people can access Google Drive and upload the data. Yes or no? So we should have certain controls. So people should not be able to access Google Drive, should not be able to access Gmail. That control also will be implemented. Second is people will not have USB access. Otherwise, people can access through USB, transfer the data. So USB access should also be blocked. So if you have thinking that your data is too critical, should not go outside, right? So you have to implement all security controls. Ensure that data will be there inside your network only. Get in mind? Next class we'll discuss about the proxy. Using proxy will regulate the internal access.
Hello, sir.
Okay, I have one more question, sir. Okay.
Yes.
Second thing is, if you see, that's a generic question. It's not going to be a technical one. Okay, if you see now, everything is moved on to the kind of an artificial intelligence. Okay, the companies are now adopting all the tools like
Not
AI
moved
based.
now. You mentioned moved now. It is just started, not yet moved.
Okay. Okay. In terms of, for example, in DevOps or in DevSecOps, there it plays a good role. Okay, what is the role of an artificial intelligence here in the SOC?
It is yet to be implemented. It is yet to be evaluated, not yet evaluated as of now. We have
Because
not.
if you more of efforts, people keep monitoring it and they take a decision to either quarantine or approve it and all those things. Okay. Is that any artificial intelligence have been started looking into it and doing this manipulations automated instead of doing manually?
As I mentioned that it is not yet evaluated in cybersecurity, so we can say there is no impact as of now. Now the further it is just started, further we do not know what will happen, but as of now it is not being evaluated. We cannot comment on this as of now. But definitely it will have certain impact on all the areas of IT, not into cybersecurity. But in cybersecurity, know that digitalization is happening very fast. Still there is a gap between availability and demand. Future also, many businesses will be coming online. So still we'll have the shortage, right? So we are in almost safe zone. Whether AI comes or whatever automation comes, almost we are in safe zone. So we don't need to worry about that. Okay.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. What is your rootkit, sir? Rootkit.
That is your homework. Did you Google it? Did you Google it? What is rootkit?
Okay. Yes, sir. I Google it. But confusion, sir. Sir,
First,
confusion, sir.
Okay, I'll explain you. First, you Google it and let me know what you understood. Then I'll explain you.
Okay.
And then, Rabbani, first of all, you are not muting Matt. You are not listening to class. I moved you in the waiting room because you are not listening to me. You are unmuting your voice and not what you are doing. You are not listening to class.
Listening, sir. Yes, sir. I'm listening. Listening, sir. I'm listening.
I asked you. I called your name many times. You did not speak. You did not answer, and you have unmuted your mic. Please keep your mic next time.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
sir. Okay, sir. Email gateway is legitimate. Spam malicious is there now. Legitimate means in organization, inside organization.
Legitimate means valid. Actually, legitimate means valid. Legitimate means valid. Sometimes valid
inside organization. Okay.
Legitimate means valid email. Valid email
yes.
means it is intended. Means not suspicious. It's a valid email. Sometimes what will happen is email will come. And email gateway false positively identify it as suspicious email. But that was actually valid email, but it's been blocked on the email gateway. Right? There might be some scenario. That is the reason we will have security analyst will monitor the email gateway 24/7. So any case, in case legitimate email means valid email got blocked, he will release it after reviewing that email.
Sir, spam means any business deals in companies, business any organization also calling some meetings.
Spam email means unsolicited marketing emails. Unnecessarily not subscribe. You have not subscribed anything. Just now you got email, marketing emails, right? Those we call spam email. Spam emails are not harmful emails, but those are unnecessarily unsolicited email which you are not intended to receive. somebody keeps sending, right? Those emails we call as spam email.
Sir, malicious means gathering the information, any user ID and password.
Malicious means which have the bad intention, right? That called
bad intention. Asking, yes, asking to the user ID and password and etc.
Just any activity which is not legal, not ethical, it's malicious.
Yes.
All comes under malicious. You attack, different type of attack. What comes of malicious activity, right? No, not authorized activity. Unauthorized activity, you call it malicious.
Unauthorized activity. Yes.
Malicious, bad intention, which has been initiated with bad intention. Okay. Next.
Sir, what are the static signature in email gateway?
Static means what you define. What you define. If, for example, if any particular email you want to allow that any emails come for the particular email should be allowed all the times, right? You can create a static rule. If you want to send a particular user email, whatever he sent, he should be allowed all the time. Static rule, right? For example, now a particular email is a phishing email which has been delivered successfully. Email gateway does not have signature. You can block that particular email ID or domain on the email gateway manually under the static rule. Means anything you allow or disallow manually, it comes under static, also a static rule. You know what I mean? Some ransomware attack happen, malware attack happen, and email gateway does not have signature. That's the reason email has been delivered, right? Now as an action, you can block that particular email ID on the gateway itself. Email ID, attachment also you can block, subject line also you can define, content also you can define. If any email has this particular content, should be blocked on the email gateway. Any email has this particular subject line should be blocked. Any email having this particular extension type, file extension should be blocked. Any email particular having this particular file name should be blocked. Subject line should be blocked. Email ID should be blocked. Domain name should be blocked. Multiple such policy you can set. Got it? Anybody else?
When we say DDoS attacks, attacks
sir, can you please explain again the use of CAPTCHA as a web application firewall?
Let him complete what Amal Sayed you are saying.
So DDoS attacks happens right on company servers, right?
Right.
Big company servers, is it right? Just a small question.
I did not get you completely. Can you come again?
It's like DDoS attacks happens on big organizations
right.
Servers.
Correct. On web server, web applications.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah. Okay. Hey guys, we'll end of the day. We'll connect tomorrow at the same time, 8 o'clock. Today we were delayed, but tomorrow we'll try to connect on time. Thank you.
Sir, upload today video, sir.
It is available already in
YouTube.
It is better way. I have explained in a better way. Today I was explaining a little fast, but in YouTube video that link I have shared with you, right? On which I have explained you slowly. So better you watch those videos. The same thing I have been saying.
Sir.
And I had given little more example. I was thinking that most people already watched it. So I tried to cover this fast because so many new things we have added in the batch. So I thought we have to cover it within the time period. So I was trying to make it little fast. So you watch those videos which I have shared on the link. That is little slower.
Sir, how to tackle DDoS attack?
DDoS, you watch a video. I have been the homework, right? That is available in the YouTube. Watch that video.
Sir,
okay.
Sir.
Tomorrow.
So you are, sir, you are discussing about the link that you have shared videos. So last class I missed. So actually, where did you share the videos link, sir?
No, just now in the group I have shared. Last time
in the groups.
Just now I have shared the video playlist, right? Previous batch I have taken all classes, basic classes. That link today only during the class once we took the break, right? That link I have shared on the group. So all basic sessions till basic we will cover. All the sessions are available. Get in mind? So on that my speed was also slow compared to today. As I mentioned, I try to make it fast to complete this basic topic. Normal speed say you can watch in V2.
Okay, sir, got it. That's what my inquiry is about.
See you tomorrow.